runners at first and third. Then George Foster belted a deep drive to left field for a 3-run home run and a New York Mets 4-0 lead. George was 4 for 5 in the ballgame last night and drove in 4 runs. Then after Strawberry had singled and Hubie Brooks was walked, Danny Heap doubled to left to drive in Strawberry, and it was 5-0 New York. Jose Cruz making a valiant attempt on the ball, but it went for an RBI double. That put runners at second and third. And then Junior Ortiz was up and singled to right to drive in both Brooks and Heap, and it was 7-0 New York, still in the third inning. George Foster added an RBI double in the 6th inning, and the final was 8-1 as Walt Terrell retired the first 10 in a row with defensive help from Jose Oquendo in the 2nd inning, first on this ball by Jerry Mumphrey, and then on a hard smash by Ray Knight. As Jose dove for it, got up and made the play. Tonight, the Mets go for 3 in a row with 19-year-old Dwight Gooden on the mound, making his major league debut.
From the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, it's New York Mets baseball. Tonight, the New York Mets take on the Houston Astros. Participating advertisers are Bud Light. Best has a taste all its own, satisfying but never filling. So ask for Bud Light. Manufacturers hand over trust, where our facts make your money worth more. Datsun, Nissan, builders of high-quality cars and trucks for 50 years. Available at your Datsun dealer. By Exxon and its thousands of independent dealers. By express mail service from the post office. We deliver excellently for less. And by Ivory, the soap without a lot of extra ingredients. For pure, natural kind of clean, lather up with Ivory. Pitching for the New York Mets is Dwight Gooden with a record of 0-0 and 3.00 in the ERA average for spring training. And pitching for Houston is Bob Nepper with a record in spring training of 3 wins and 1 loss, an earned run average of 3.12. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriskie, and a special night here tonight. A few years back, there was a great picture called A Star is Born, and the Mets are hoping here tonight that Dwight Gooden will be a star here in his first appearance in a Major League uniform. Last year, he won 19 and lost only 4 while pitching in Class A ball. He is trying to make an awfully big jump. So a special event here tonight inside at the Astrodome. Now let's go down to Tim McCarver and his special guests.
All right, Ralph Kiner, thank you very much. One of the nice things about this business is often you have a chance to interview nice people. I am standing with Mr. and Mrs. Dan Gooden, Ella and Dan Gooden, and I'm so very happy that you had a chance to come to Houston tonight.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here, too.
And it was your first plane ride, right, Dan?
No, not mine.
Not yours, but yours.
My first.
And you enjoyed it, I assume.
I did. I really did.
Especially when the purpose was to come see your baby pitch tonight.
That's right.
And of course, Dan, can you tell me if at any time in Dwight's young career that you thought he would make the major leagues this soon?
No, I never did. Not this soon. I was hoping he would make it, but I didn't make it this quick.
And if he wins tonight, he'll be your son. If he loses, he'll be Ella's, right?
Oh, right.
Mine no matter what.
He's a win, lose, or draw.
Man.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When the Mets signed Dwight Gooden, Frank Cashin said that he was going to be his, and we're so happy that Dan and Ella Gooden could make it here tonight. And thank you. Enjoy the ball game, and we're naturally hoping that we come out a winner.
I hope so.
Yes, I hope we do.
Thank you very much, Dan and Ella Gooden, Ralph.
Okay, and Houston now taking the field. We're getting set for this ball game to start. Ray Knight will be first base. At second base is Bill Duran. Dickie Thon playing shortstop. Denny Walling at third base. Out in left field, Jose Cruz. Jerry Mumphrey in center field. And Terry Poole in right. The catcher is Alan Ashby. And on the mound, Bob Nepper. Nepper with a record last year of 6-7. In spring training, he was 3-1. And Nepper, I should say, had a record of 6-13 with a 3.19 ERA. And he got off to a horrible start last year. He was 1-8 before he finally got untracked, and he started his winning ways against the New York Mets here in the Astrodome.
Well, against the Mets tonight, Davey Johnson will be sending Ron Gardenhire at second base and leading off. Jose Oquendo had a superb game last night, will bat second. Keith Hernandez, 1 for 13 on the young year, will bat third and play first. George Foster, a booming George Foster evening last night with 4 hits and a 3-run home run. He'll bat cleanup. Darryl Strawberry in right field batting fifth. Mookie Wilson back in the lineup. The first game Mookie's played since opening day in Cincinnati, that day on Monday, of course. Hubie Brooks batting seventh and playing third. Mike Fitzgerald getting his first start of the year behind the plate. And, of course, the much heralded Dwight Gooden on the mound.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets baseball and WRTV, and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audiences. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WRTV is prohibited. And now Ron Gardenhire stepping into the batter's box. Ron hitting .422. He's had 1 home run, and that was his average in spring training. He takes the first pitch from Bob Nepper, and it's strike 1. Gardenhire last year batted 18 ball games and .287 for Tidewater in AAA baseball. And Nepper throws up a high fast on and a hard out.
I'll tell you what Bob Nepper will try to do with the right-handed hitters tonight. He'll try to get ahead with fastballs and breaking balls away. And when he gets 2 strikes, he loves to run that fastball in on their fist. He tried that on Ron Gardenhire, and Ronnie hit it solidly, but a nice play by Dickie Thon.
And it brings up Jose Oquendo, who was 3 for 5 last night. Oquendo with an average spring. Nepper with his first pitch, a fastball that's lined in the center field for the first hit of the game. So Jose Oquendo picks up his 4th hit in the second game of this 3-game series, and brings up Keith Hernandez.
Ralph, I was talking to Oquendo before the game, and Joe told me that he had moved up on the plate because of having problems with the outside pitch, and hitting instructor Bill Robinson had suggested that. And Joey said that's the way he's approaching it. So he's moved back on the plate and moved up. And the results the last 2 days have been excellent.
Certainly have been excellent. Oquendo batting .375 so far this year before that base hit. And Keith Hernandez 0 for 5 last night. And so far this year he's had only 1 hit in 13 at-bats. Oquendo, good speed, the runner at first base, as we get underway here in the Astrodome. Throw over to first base, Oquendo back. Outside, it's about 60 degrees, the wind blowing around 30 to 40 knots. But here inside, a perfect evening. And that one just does catch the tree with the call by home plate umpire Joe West. On deck batter, George Foster. One ball, 1 strike to count. Oquendo running with the pitch, and the ball is fouled off. So Oquendo in motion. Last night the Mets executed 2 hit-and-run plays perfectly.
Yeah, Jose Oquendo on the back end of it as the hitter last night. 2 line drives to right field with Wally Backman on first. And now, of course, again, unless the count goes to 3-2. But it's a good time to do it, even though you have a left-hander against a left-hander. Hernandez handling left-handers very, very well.
Bobby Valentine, the third base coach, and Hernandez has struck out. So Keith having a tough time getting off on this season. Struck out twice in last night's ball game.
And as you very well know, Ralph Kiner, when you're going bad, as Keith is, too early really to go bad, being only the 4th ball game. But the alarming thing, early alarm right now, is that Keith has struck out 6 times. And when you're going bad, pitchers are more inclined to make pitches like that on you, aren't they?
They certainly are, and that's one of the reasons why you go bad. They make very good pitches on you, and you also are a little bit mixed up in your thinking at the plate.
To where you can't hit the real hanger where you usually hammer that pitch.
And now a man who hammered 4 of them yesterday, George Foster, 4 for 5 with a home run and 2 doubles and a single. Throw to first base, and again Oquendo back.
Nepper does not have a good move to first base. A lot of left-handers will give you the bad move and then a good move after that. But Nepper has moved over twice with about as good a move as he possesses. Oquendo, one of the bad things about diving into a bag, you can jam your finger, and Oquendo seemed to jam his little finger on his right hand then.
And Foster with a half swing, and it's a strike. Foster, if you'll notice, is using a white bat. For years and years, he used a bat that was black. He called it his Black Beauty. Last night, he switched to a white bat and went 4 for 5. The bat belonging to Keith Hernandez. One of the things about that bat, it is a lighter one than he had been using, and they've been trying to get him to go to a lighter bat for quite some time.
Right, that's a white bat, right?
Right.
Much lighter.
Much lighter. In color. The ball bounces away. Oquendo going for second base. And he's called out. The call by second base umpire Frank Pulley, it appeared that Oquendo had beaten the tag. Let's take a look.
Guarantee it looked like he was coming up. But regardless of whether he was safe or out, give Alan Ashby a lot of credit. Looked like he was coming up. We'll see. You be the umpire. Safe? I don't believe it. He was safe.
He was safe in my book, but not in the book of the umpire. So no runs, 1 hit, and no one left on base. Score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Mets nothing, and Houston coming up. Now here's a word from Bud Light. Well, the Mets have taken the field. It'll be Keith Hernandez at first base for the Mets. Keith, of course, the Golden Glove first baseman. At second base, Ron Gardenhire. At shortstop, Jose Oquendo. The third baseman, Hubie Brooks. Out in left field, George Foster. In center field, Mookie Wilson. And in right, the catcher, Mike Fitzgerald. And on the mound, it is Dwight Gooden. The spring training record 0-0 with a 3 ERA. Last year, Lynchburg, he won 19 and lost 4, struck out 300 batters. And he did pitch in the playoffs at Tidewater. He won 2 and lost 1. This Tidewater won the overall playoffs.
Dwight Gooden's first Major League lineup that he'll be opposed by Bill Doran, the second baseman, leading off, followed by Terry Poole, the right fielder. Dickie Thon hitting third, followed by Jose Cruz, the left fielder. Jerry Mumphrey, the center fielder, batting fifth. Ray Knight, the first baseman, hitting sixth, followed by Dennis Walling, Alan Ashby, and Bob Nepper.
And the first pitch in his Major League career by Dwight Gooden, a ball. Bill Doran in spring training batted .222 with no home runs and 1 RBI, 1 for 4 last night. Fine young second baseman for the Houston Astros. Batted .271 last year. And Gooden's first fast strike, and it's a fastball grounded out to second base. So Dwight Gooden retires his first Major League batter.
Yeah, there's no way. Bill Doran now is a second-year man, and there's no way, if I'm a left-handed hitter, that I can't see a strike off Dwight Gooden. I mean, it's his first Major League start. He's got to be nervous. It's human. And for Houston for the hitters to go up there and hack at the second pitch without seeing a strike, I think is foolish.
And a .268 hitter in spring training, Terry Poole, steps in. Poole 1 for 4 last night. Good hitter against the Mets. And the fastball for a strike. Poole hit .326 against the Mets throughout his career. So far this year, he's hitting .333. And again, the fastball and strike 2. Dwight Gooden, the 9th teenager to play for the New York Mets and the 3rd youngest pitcher the Mets have ever had. Jim Bethke was 18, the youngest, then Jerry Hensley, and now Dwight Gooden. Dwight is the youngest player in the National League, 19 years of age. Good live fastball there, and that's 1-2 as he misses the strike zone.
And the Mets also have the youngest non-pitcher in the National League on the field. That's only 20. It's short.
Did he swing? Home plate umpire said no. It's Joe West behind the plate. And the count at 2-2.
See Mike Fitzgerald there behind the plate. He caught Dwight Gooden in 3 games in which Gooden pitched last year for the Tidewater Ball Club.
Fastball again grounded to the second base side. Gardenhire has it, and 2 men away. Gardenhire playing second base with a left-handed pitcher pitching. Wally Backman generally plays second base with a right-hander pitching, and it brings up Dickie Thon. Thon, the spring, hit .260, drove in 8 runs. 1 for 4 yesterday, and batting .417 for the year. And the first curveball. It's called a strike. So Gooden comes in with the curveball and gets a strike, and Dwight's parents watching, intently watching.
Dan and Ella Gooden from Tampa, Florida, flown in at the Mets' expense tonight. Nice gesture.
And a good fastball in a good location. It's strike 2. Talking to Dwight Gooden in the lobby of the hotel before the ball game, he did not appear nervous. Another curveball. This one misses.
I saw him on the bench before the game, before he went down to stretch, and hey, he's a little scary along those lines. He doesn't appear to get that nervous too often.
Fastball struck him out. So Dwight Gooden gets his first major league strikeout. He had 300 of them last year at Lynchburg. It's a 1-2-3 inning, and the score at the end of 1. The Mets nothing and Houston nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Handover. No score. We're going to the top of the second, and George Foster, the leadoff. If you recall, he was at the plate when Oquendo was called out attempting to move on down to second base, and a pitch that got away from the catcher. So a new count for George Foster, and he pulls the ball foul for strike 1.
Tell you, Ralph, some glowing reports from the Houston players in this morning's Houston Chronicle about the game last night. I thought it was some of those players were well spoken when they were talking about the new Met look. They said the ball club appeared to be a more aggressive club this year, and I think they're right.
No doubt about it. The young ball players fighting for positions and playing a very exciting brand of baseball. Nepper back and picking up a swinging strike for strike 2.
And they couldn't have a feistier guy at the helm either in Davey Johnson.
Nepper with a lifetime record of 67 victories and 83 losses. His record is not indicative of his talent. He's a pretty good pitcher. And right there you see Darryl Strawberry, the on-deck batter. Misses with a breaking ball, and the count 1-2.
That's that slider he was working on last year. He added to that when he got off to that horrendous start that you mentioned earlier, 1-8 by June 1st. He will kind of cut his fastball. He loves to come inside with the heat on this situation, but they're going to go away, I see.
Turned it over a little bit. Took something off, reacting a little bit like a screwball, and the count at 2-2. Mookie Wilson will be hitting behind George Foster. You look at Davey Johnson peeking around the corner. This one popped up. It's up there, but playable. Jose Cruz, the left fielder. So Foster way out in front hits a high towering fly ball to left. 1 away here in the top of the second. No score, and it brings up Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry a fine spring, as you see. 354 with 2 home runs. 1 for 5 last night. And the first pitch of ball. Strawberry hitting .250 so far this year with 1 home run. He got that home run his first time up in this 1984 season. This one hit deep to center field, but high going back to center fielder Mumphrey. It might be gone. It is gone. Goodbye. Darryl Strawberry with a towering home run over the 406 mark. That is some power.
I'll tell you one thing, Ralph Kiner. I don't think I've seen 3 balls hit over the center field fence in this ballpark. A fastball Ball on the outside part of the plate allowed Strawberry to extend those arms. Watch this power. Boom. And I, like you, thought that that ball was going to be a routine out, and that's the difference between a guy as strong as Strawberry popping that ball. I'm telling you.
I'll tell you, that's the difference between a great home run hitter and a fellow who just hits a few.
That's right.
And now Mookie Wilson grounding his first pitch. It's foul.
A lot of power in that swing right there, folks. I think Darryl might have been the only guy who thought the ball had a chance because he's the one who thumped it.
Well, Darrell's the type of hitter that when the ball goes in the air, it keeps on carrying. Not many like that. Jimmy Fox would be one that I can recall in a hurry. One of the greatest home run hitters of all time. Mookie hit 276 last year, and he takes a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Darryl Strawberry, after having a tough night, last home run here tonight. And Mookie checks on the swing, and he does check as first base umpire. Doug Harvey said no swing.
That, by the way, the first home run that Darryl Strawberry has hit in the Astrodome. That leaves him only Dodger Stadium.
Ground ball right back to Bob Nepper. And Nepper over to first base for the out.
He has homered in every National League park but Dodger Stadium. Of course, he probably did his poorest against the Dodgers last year.
In his hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And there probably is a good reason for that. All those fans out there looking on, and he's trying too hard. Here's Hubie Brooks. Hubie 1 for 3 last night, batted .391 this spring with some power. And he takes a fastball. Last year, Hubie batted .251 with 5 home runs. Mets leading 1-0 on Strawberry's home run. And this one, a high fly ball to left center. Jerry Mumphrey, the center fielder, making the call and making the catch, and that retires the side. So the home run. Oh, no one left on base, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Mets 1, Houston 0. Now here's a word from Bud Light. Well, Darryl Strawberry putting the Mets on top with a home run, an Academy Award home run. This one really hit a towering fly ball to deep center, drifting back to center fielder Jerry Mumphrey over at the 406 mark. You know, all this week, as we look at the swing again of Darryl Strawberry, what power. All this week, every movie on Channel 9 is an Academy Award winner. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, Kirk Douglas with Sir Laurence Olivier and Gene Simmons star in Spartacus here on Channel 9 as we salute Oscar. And saluting Tim McCarver as he comes in for the play-by-play.
All right, Ralph Kiner, thank you very much. Jose Cruz leading it off for the Astros here in the second inning. Takes a fastball high from Dwight Gooden, who has a 1-run cushion here in the second. Darryl Strawberry with his second home run of the year.
What's the old cliche? No park's too big for Strawberry, even Yellowstone.
Strawberry feels forever. Swing and a miss at another high fastball, 1-1. Should say Strawberry hits forever, huh?
It's amazing how much Dwight Gooden and Strawberry look like.
Tap to the left side. Oquendo in. High throw, but he got him. Oquendo not in a position to make a strong throw, just in time to get Cruz.
You caught our opening. You saw 2 great plays by Oquendo in last night's ball game. This play a little bit difficult because he didn't get into throwing position on the bounce, but he got it over there in time. And Jose Cruz, who does get down the line in a hurry, is out. Jose
down the line in a hurry. Jerry Mumphrey hitting from the left side, normally a switch hitter. Fastball is high. These guys are up there ready to swing at the first pitch, and I don't understand that, Ralph Kiner. They realize that young Dwight Gooden in his first major league start got to be a bit nervous out there.
Boy.
Good curveball there, 1-1.
Right off the table. 19 years of age.
Gooden features a fastball and various types of breaking ball, primarily a good downer. Fastball by Mumphrey, 1-2.
Well, after throwing that good curveball and then coming back with a fastball, Mumphrey way behind the pitch. when you see that good curveball and they can get it over, you have to wait a little longer, and it makes that fastball that much harder to hit.
Another curveball tapped foul. Yeah, especially if you throw that breaking ball over behind in the count. You don't see a lot of young pitchers with the poise and the confidence enough to do it. But Davy Johnson, of course, you got to be a talent. You can be well poised. There are a lot of clerks that have poise. But you got to have talent to pitch, number one. But Davy certainly loves the poise and confidence of young Dwight Gooden from Tampa, Florida. Fastball is low, 2-2 to Jerry Mumphrey.
Gooden likes to be called Doc. Goes back to his basketball playing days. Doc or Doctor.
Of course, there's only one doctor in basketball, right?
Yes, sir.
Julius Erving, of course. Curveball gets Mumphrey. 2-2 curveball. And the second strikeout for Dwight Gooden. 5 in a row retired now by Dwight.
Oh, this one drops right off the table. And this curveball as good as you'll see in the major leagues. Bob Feller, known for a fastball, had one of the greatest curveballs that anyone ever had in Major League Baseball.
Bob Feller pitched the only opening day no-hitter back in 1940, a year before I was born, and that's the truth. Here's Ray Knight, breaking ball inside.
The truth? You mean you were born, huh?
And not hatched.
Not hatched.
1-0 to Ray Knight, batting .273 on the young season. Good fastball.
Speaking of no-hitters, a no-hitter pitched today. It tied the earliest date for a no-hitter ever pitched. Ken Force did it for Houston here back a few years back on April 7th.
Fastball ripped foul into the Astro right in front of their dugout. It's 1-2 to Ray Knight. Of course, you're speaking chronologically, of course,
yes.
Not the earliest time during a season, as Bob Feller holds that.
Bob Feller is the only man to pitch a no-hitter on opening day, but It was later in the month. Jack Morris, the man that did it for Detroit against the White Sox.
Swing and a miss. He gets Ray Knight. Third strikeout for Dwight Gooden as he has retired 6 straight Astros, and the Mets lead 1-0 after 2.
And the fastball this time in a good spot, and it's right on by Ray Knight. He was behind it.
A speedy fastball. Now a word from a speedy Dotson. Mike Fitzgerald leads it off for the Mets here in the top of the 3rd inning. The Mets lead 1-0. Fastball from Bob Nepper misses outside. 1-0 to Fitzgerald in his first at bat in the '84 season.
His first at bat in the major leagues, he hit a home run.
And against the Phillies and Charlie Hudson last year at the Vet in Philadelphia. Fastball is outside. 2-0.
There you see the 2 stars of the Mets. They certainly look alike.
Certainly had a lot to say about this game so far. Gooden has retired 6 in a row, and Strawberry with his home run knocking in the only run. Base hit up the middle for Fitzgerald. So Mike Fitzgerald on there. Mike did not have a good spring as far as his hitting was concerned. And Dwight Gooden, not only is this his first game, this may be his first professional at bat. Probably is.
High school, they use the DH in most of the places that they play baseball. Let's see what kind of a swinger he is. He's a good athlete, so he might be a good hitter.
As you mentioned, an outstanding basketball player in high school. Probably up there bunting, and he is. And bunted it hard. Foul down toward the third base coaching box, retrieved by Bobby Valentine.
This might be the first time he's played on AstroTurf, too.
Uh-huh.
And also inside.
Yeah. You can bet on that now. All of them. As a matter of fact, I think that he told me that he has played on AstroTurf before. He has played on it in the minor leagues. I think one of his in the league in which his team last year, the Lynchburg Mets, were in. I think one park had AstroTurf in it. Mike Fitzgerald talking to Bill Robinson to see if anything's on. 0-1 to Gooden. Throw back to first. It's a good way to keep that runner close and not allow the runner, a good base runner, to steal second base if the first baseman breaks too soon. And Gooden swinging with the charging Ray Knight. Also in tight, Denny Walling, the third baseman.
Well, having him swing away there would indicate that Dave Johnson thinks he's a good hitter. This was not a missed sign.
No, a pretty good cut, as a matter of fact.
A little behind it, but pretty good swing.
0-2 to Gooden. Breaking ball high. 1-2 to Dwight. Bob Nepper, 6-7 lifetime against the Mets. He was 1-0 in 1983, shutting out the Mets July 15th of last year. Breaking ball, nicely fielded by Walling. Over to first. It's a double play. A nicely turned double play around the horn. 5-4-3.
And this ball hit hard. Walling has to make a fine backhand play. He makes the turnaround pivot. And Gooden, hustling down the line at first, makes it close. But he is called out. It's a double play. Not too bad. As he hits into a double play, well, that's not too good, but it was hit well.
Yeah, the results weren't good, but it certainly was a good start. Dwight hit that well, and only a fine fielding play by Denny Walling was responsible for turning a double play. Here's Ron Gardenhire, who lined out to short his first time up. Takes a fastball strike. 0-1 to Ronnie. Ron 1 for 7, playing second base tonight for the first time this year in a starting role. He has played second, but only for defensive purposes, relieving Wally Backman. There's a curveball strike. 0-2 to Ron Gardenhire. Breaking ball just misses outside. The umpires, by the way, Joe West behind the plate, Doug Harvey at first base, Frank Pulley, Easton's own Frank Pulley at second base, and Jerry Crawford at third. Just misses. Did he go? No, says first base umpire Doug Harvey. And the count's 2-2 to Ron Gardenhire. Breaking ball gets Gardenhire. First strikeout, I beg your pardon, second strikeout for Bob Nepper. And the Mets are down without a run in the third inning. They did have one hit and stranded none. After 2.5, it's the Mets 1 and the Astros nothing. The first game ever played at Shea Stadium was on April 17th, 1964, and 49,000 fans were on hand that day. This year, 20 years to the day, on Tuesday afternoon, April 17th, the 1984 home season opens against the Montreal Expos. Game time 1:30, and the pageantry and ceremonies get underway at 1 o'clock. Don't forget, it's also the first day of calendar week, and all fans who attend the game will receive the full color calendar courtesy of the Mets and Getty Oil. The wall calendar contains photos of your favorite Mets, as well as the schedule and interesting historical information about the ball club. So plan to be on hand for the home opener Tuesday afternoon, April 17th at Shea, the Mets and the Expos at 1:30. You can buy tickets at the advanced ticket window at Shea through Ticketron or Teletron, or call 212-507-TIXX. And please call Monday through Friday during business hours 9 through 5.
And the Honorable Mayor Edward Koch will throw out the first ball when the Mets open their home season on that Tuesday, April 17th against Montreal. Game time at 1:30 p.m. And it will be exactly 20 years to the day that Shea was opened. And the Mets will recreate the first pitch ever at Shea. Coming back for the occasion will be Mets battery, the pitcher Jack Fisher, and the catcher Jesse Gonder. And the leadoff man in that game, a Pittsburgh Pirate man by the name of Dick Schofield, and the umpire will be Tom Gorman.
All right, Ralph. Yes, sir. Dick Schofield's son is now the shortstop in the California Angels chain, and may see some action this year with the curtailed play of Rick Burleson, who is now undergoing more problems with that torn rotator cuff. Here's Denny Walling to lead it off. The Mets lead 1-0. Gooden has retired 6 in a row. Fastball is high, 1-0. Denny Walling betting .222. He's 2 for 9 in the young season. Fouls back a fastball. 1-1 to Denny Walling. On deck, the fine catcher of the Astros, Alan Ashby. Walling signed as a free agent for the Houston Astros. Like he took something off of that pitch. 2-1 to Denny Walling.
During the spring, Gooden had some trouble with the fingernail on his pitching hand.
Another fastball. Did he go? No, sir. 3-1 to Walling. Yeah, he tore that skin away from the nail on his right forefinger. That caused him to be lifted from the game, but that appears to be healed right now, of course. Well, he walks him. So the first base runner of the ball game, the first walk allowed by Dwight Gooden. And the batter's going to be Alan Ashby, the fine catcher of the Astros. Batted only .229 in an injury-plagued year last year, but he did bounce back to hit .356 this spring, as you saw on our screen there.
He's got a lifetime average against the Mets at .305.
Walling not a threat to run at first base. Fastball is low to Alan Ashby. Ashby had 8 home runs last year. His high, career high, was 12 2 years ago. A dramatic home run against the Dodgers back in '81. Throw to first base. Walling's back. That was, of course, the strike season, and those were the divisional playoffs. The Dodgers won those, of course. Breaking ball outside. 2-0 to Alan Ashby. So Dwight Gooden, after retiring the first 6 in a row, having a bit of a problem with his control here. 19 years old, November 16th. Fastball, foul ball. 2-1 to Alan Ashby.
Youngest pitcher to ever pitch in the major leagues was Joe Nuxhall, who was 15 years of age. He had 1 start during the war. That was WW2, and then went down to the minor leagues.
Wasn't WW1, huh?
No.
Nuxie, now a radio broadcaster, along with Marty Brenneman. We just left Joe Nuxhall, the old left-hander, in Cincinnati. Swing and a miss. 2-2 to Alan Ashby.
And Ashby helped him out there. That ball definitely out of the strike zone. It's up too high for a strike, but the volume of the ball just too much for Ashby on that pitch.
Yeah, you don't have much of a chance to think about it. Hitting is an extraordinarily difficult art. If you do it 3 out of 10 times successfully, then you're a good one. There goes Walling, breaking ball, and Walling has himself a stolen base. Breaking ball was outside to run the count to 3-2, but Denny Walling, a nifty piece of base running.
This could have been a strike. I don't know if it was outside. It might have been, but the throw on down by Fitzgerald, the catcher, way high and offline and not in time. So Walling gets a stolen base. So much for that. He wasn't a threat to run.
I guess everybody's a threat, just like everybody's dangerous with a bat in their hands. And Ashby fouls it back, still 3-2. I did say that. That's right.
Just want to keep everything up above board.
That is correct.
Bob Knepper, the on-deck batter, and he is a good hitting pitcher.
3-2 to Ashby. Nobody out. The Mets up by a run on a home run by Darryl Strawberry. Line drive, base hit, left field. Hubie Brooks jumped for the ball but couldn't come up with it. And Walling, because he had to hold up to see whether the ball was caught or not, only could go to third. So the Astros have runners at first, third, nobody out.
Well, Gooden makes a good pitch right here. He jams the batter, but it's sliced just over the head of the third baseman. They all count, and they all look like line drives in the newspaper the next day. So the first hit given up by Gooden, and now Houston with runners at first and third with a pitcher coming up.
Still nobody out. Keith Hernandez going in to talk to Gooden, reminding him just to worry about the out. Don't worry about the runner at the plate. Could be a bunting situation, but I highly disagree with it if it is. Swing and a miss. 0-1 to Nepper. Most of the swinging strikes, I think it's fair to say, have been out of the strike zone, Ralph.
In this inning especially.
And I guess it would follow that most of the call strikes have been in the strike zone.
Every time.
Brilliant deduction by two ex-major leaguers.
Very good logic.
0-1 to Nepper. Swing and a miss. Another high rider. 0-2 to Bob Nepper. Infield and double play depth. Hernandez holding on Ashby at first, who is not a threat to steal, as you see your infield there. I think Keith ought to be behind any place, but of course I said Walling wasn't either, right?
Well, Ashby's a lesser chance to steal.
Swing and a miss. He got him. Fourth strikeout for Dwight Gooden. And a big one it was, because now a double play will get him out of the inning.
And right here again going to the heater. And the swing and the miss. So Nepper struck out on 3 pitches, fastballs. Now we go back to the top of the batting order.
Bill Doran, the second baseman, tapped to second his first time up. The Astros with only 1 hit. Gooden has allowed 1 walk. Both those runners on base now, first and third, and 1 out. Strike on the outside part. Joe West, a very deliberate umpire behind home plate. Doran is very, very tough to double. He runs extremely well, especially from the left side. Bill 1 for 13 on the young season. That a hit against the Mets in last night's game, a game in which the Mets won 8-1. And a bunt attempt. It looked like somebody missed a squeeze on that one.
Well, somebody either missed a squeeze, because you wouldn't be putting on a safety squeeze in this spot, I don't believe.
I don't think I've seen the safety squeeze used since 1943 when I was 2.
Now the runner at third base is being talked to by the third base coach, which is sort of an indication that somebody didn't get the sign, and that'd be Dennis Walling.
And the third base coach, Dennis Menke. Don Leppert, the first base coach for the Astros. 0-2 to Doran. Ooh, good pitch. He fought it off and stayed alive. Terry Poole, the on-deck hitter, as the outfield shaded around toward left field. Darryl Strawberry is shaded toward right field, so they're almost playing Doran like a right-handed pull hitter. Swing and a miss. He got him. Oh, what 2 strikeouts they were. First the pitcher, Bob Nepper, and now Doran, the second baseman.
And he gets him with a fastball, a high fastball in a perfect spot, and Doran just tied up on the ball. He just did not have a chance.
That is the high rider, my friend. I'll tell you. 5th strikeout for Dwight Gooden, and now, for all intents and purposes, it'll take a base hit to score Denny Walling from third. No fly ball or infield out or something of that nature. Fastball is inside to Terry Poole, who also tapped to second his first time up. 5 strikeouts for Dwight Gooden, and we're only in the third.
Well, last year he struck out 300 batters in 191 innings.
That at Lynchburg, the Class A affiliate of the Mets, he only gave up 121 hits and only walked 112. Check swing, foul ball, 1-1 to Poole. Walling at third base. Ashby at first. 1-0 Mets. We're in the bottom of the third at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Swing and a miss. 1-2 to Poole. The interesting thing about this Houston club is they're a tough club to strike out.
That is very true. They have a lot of contact hitters and hitters that don't try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. They are the type of hitters that like to bounce the ball.
1 through 8. 1-2 to Terry Poole. Pops him up. He should be out of it. Jose Oquendo squeezes it, and what a job by Gooden. With runners on first and third and nobody out, Gooden came back. He struck out Bob Nepper and Bill Doran and got Terry Poole on a pop. And the Mets lead 1-0 after 3. Now here's a word from Bud Light. Whew. Top of the 4th inning for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriskie.
Thank you, Timmy. Jose Oquendo to lead it off here in the top of the 4th. The number 2 man in the batting order to face Bob Nepper. Jose single to center his first time up. And he squares but takes a strike on a breaking ball. 1-0 New York. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors for the Mets. No runs, 1 hit and no errors for the Astros as Dwight Gooden has struck out 5 through the first 3. 1-1.
Steve, you notice how close Jose Oquendo is to the plate? Last night, the home plate umpire, who was Jerry Crawford, told him to move up on the plate, but look how close he is. He is much, much closer to the plate than he was last year.
And his stance is a little different, too. He's closed his stance. He's
closed and a little bit more with the weight on the back foot. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. See, he's almost out of the box right there. See that right foot?
And he'll edge that foot back, as you see there. Of course, he's hitting .444 right now. I guess it's working for him.
I told him before the game what he ought to do is what Clemente used to do. He came up to the plate and he wiped out the back line, and you couldn't tell where he was standing.
you see other hitters doing that.
Sure.
Guys who like to stand deep in the box. Sometimes the umpire will take their bat away from him and draw a line for him. Breaking ball fouled off, and the count holds at 1-2.
Now that's supposed to be 35 inches from the front of the plate. That's the back part of the batter's box, but that, like a lot of rules in baseball, are overlooked on more than one occasion.
You never know for sure if those lines are drawn properly before the game begins. Each ballpark is different, too. And a ground ball to third. Denny Walling gets a nice hop and makes a good throw, and there's one away here in the 4th.
Here's the last out recorded by Dwight Gooden in the 3rd inning. And watch Dwight Gooden's parents' reaction after Jose Oquendo makes the catch. All right. Dan and Ella Gooden watching their first major league game, flying in from Tampa, Florida. And there's the man of their hour, every hour.
That's right. As Mrs. Gooden says, he's my baby whether he wins or loses.
That's right.
Keith Hernandez fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. Hernandez struck out his first time up, hitting .071 on the year. Keith hit .297 last year between St. Louis and the Mets. The fastball grounded foul, and it's 0-2.
Mrs. Gooden tickled me during our interview before the game. She told me that it was her first airplane flight, and I remember my parents' first flight was to New York City for the '64 series, a series in which I participated. So
see their baby play.
Not baby, honey.
Your mother may feel differently. A line drive to center field for Hernandez, and Keith picks up only his 2nd hit of this young season. So with 1 out, Hernandez at first base, and George Foster, the man of the night last night, will be the hitter.
Bob Nepper went back to the well for another cup of water. That little break it ball on the outside that he got Hernandez with the last time, and Keith was looking for it even with 2 strikes, and he ripped it back up the middle. Good piece of hitting by Hernandez.
And that's what good hitters will do.
Yes, sir.
They will not get beaten twice. On the outside corner to Foster for strike 1. George hitting .357. He flied out to left field his first time up. Throw to first, but Hernandez had a short lead. Almost hit Foster. It's 1-1.
That's what Nepper likes to do, and you have to do that on George. The difference is about 3 ounces. George dropping down to that 32-ounce bat, foregoing that Black Beauty he's been using.
Off-speed pitch misses. 2-1.
Tell you what, you got a lot of third basemen in the league telling their pitchers all the time, do not throw inside changeups to George Foster.
My glove is not big enough to protect me. Denny Walling at third is playing relatively deep. Another throw to first. This time Hernandez, who was near the cutout of the turf, has to dive back. Now Hernandez with 1 foot on the turf, and the pitch is outside. It's 3-1 to Foster. George will take a little time now. And a good pitch and a good cut, but no contact. It's 3-2. On deck, Darryl Strawberry, who has produced the only run of the ball game with a tremendous home run to center field in the 2nd inning.
Major league hitters rarely look inside, and they rarely get a pitch inside that they can pull when the pitcher's behind in the count. You saw that 3-1 fastball outside. Looks like they're going to come inside this time.
And Foster fouls it straight back. The count holds at 3-2. In the post-game interview last night, George was telling you that you can't, as you have often said on the air, you can't protect both. You've got to either be looking away and adjust inside, which is easier to do than looking inside and trying to adjust away.
Yeah, and as George said, it's easier said than done. You cannot adjust away when you're looking inside, but you can fight it off looking outside.
And he hits it the other way deep to right field. Poole is going back on the track. He won't get it. It's off the wall. Hernandez held up at second for a moment, goes to third, and Foster's in with a double. He had a pair of doubles last night, his 3rd double in 2 ball games, and the Mets have runners at second and third with 1 out.
I'll tell you what, you call that by inference then. That fastball away that George Foster popped. Now check the last time Darryl Strawberry was up, a fastball away, and he gets under it. What appeared to be a routine out, not a routine out, but a deep out, is Darryl Strawberry's 2nd home run of the year. It's going to be interesting to see if they pitch to him here, even though it's lefty against lefty.
That's a good point. First base is open, only 1 out. Strawberry has proven that he can hit left-handed pitching. 4 home runs off left-handers last year. So now a total of 5. And they are going to pitch to him. And it's inside. I would imagine that they will pitch to him very carefully, however.
Well, it's an interesting situation because you got Mookie on deck who strikes out a lot, but if he makes contact, he doesn't get doubled up a lot. So we'll see.
Another breaking ball. This one's in there, and it's 1-1. Infield playing in all the way around.
That's kind of interesting also, because a ball that gets through there with them playing in, 2 runs score, not 1. We're only in the 4th inning.
And a ground ball to second. Hernandez is not coming home, and the throw goes to first, and there are 2 away.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
I say you send the runner anytime you have in a tie ball game, anytime you're ahead, anytime unless you're 2 runs down. Runners at second and third, you send the runner from third base, because the very worst that can happen is you end up with runners at first and third and 2 out, which would have been the case there. So they nail Hernandez at home. Well, then at least you're taking a chance on scoring a run in the process of making the out at home.
And there's always the chance that the ball could be thrown away or mishandled or something.
Certainly. I mean, it's not a bang-bang play. No play to a catcher is bang-bang.
And you've got to tag the runner, too. There's no force. Breaking ball to Mookie Wilson misses. 1-0. Wilson grounded back to the pitcher his first time up. Mookie hitting an even .400, although he hasn't been up very many times. He missed 2 ball games with that shoulder problem. Swing and a miss. 1-1.
Some people will say, well, you've taken a runner out of scoring position, but what you've done in the process of doing that is not, it was with Darryl Strawberry hitting, because Heaton steals second. But what you've done, you've taken a chance on scoring a run, and a run that's not a routine play.
And a called strike and a beauty from Nepper, and it's 1-2.
If you're 2 runs down and you send the runner from third, then you end up with a runner at first and third and 2 out, but not a runner in scoring position. So you do it with runners at second and third and anything less than 1 run down. That's the way I play it.
I would agree, and it kind of goes against the aggressive baseball Davy Johnson has been playing for him not to send the runner. But as we have said many times up here, there are many ways to play it.
That's why it's a great game to talk about. There's Davy, Frank Howard.
1-2 still the count on Mookie. 2 out with runners at second and third. And a hard shot, base hit inside the line, fair ball. 2 runs will score. Mookie heading for second as Hernandez comes home. Foster scores, and Wilson has a stand-up double, and the Mets lead it 3-0.
And that's exactly what Davey will tell me when I talk to him about it tomorrow. How do we make out? Mookie Wilson rips this breaking ball. Again, looking for it, it appeared. A little lazy breaking ball. Didn't have any downward bite. And Cruz feels it, but much too late. Now the Mets lead 3-0. All right.
Mookie's at second with 2 out, and Hubie Brooks the batter. Hubie flied out to Jerry Mumphrey in left center field his first time up. Batting .250 on the year. And another shot, this one handled by Walling, and the inning is over. But the Mets pick up 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. In the middle of the 4th inning from the Astrodome, it's the Mets 3 and Houston nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. Well, fans, we want to remind you as you look at Darryl Strawberry that Strawberry Sunday will take place on the first Sunday of the season at home, April 29th, when the Mets meet the Phillies at 1:30 in the afternoon. All fans will receive a free Strawberry Sunday in a salute to Darryl Strawberry, the 1983 National League Rookie of the Year. So come on out to Shea for Strawberry Sunday.
And if you like, we'll give you all the good ones on it.
Yeah, we were kidding around before the game, wondering if we could say Dwight's a good one.
You can say anything you want if he keeps pitching like he has been.
That'll play in Tennessee.
That's right. Got that right.
Here's Dickie Thon, who struck out his first time up, 1 of 5 Gooden has recorded as the Astros bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and that breaking ball almost nipped Dickie Thon. Gooden has allowed 1 hit through the first 3 innings of work. He struck out those 5 and walked 1. Another curveball drops right in there, and it's 1-1.
That's the 3rd time tonight he's thrown the breaking ball after missing with the breaking ball the first pitch. You love to see that. 19 years old, and he has the confidence throwing the breaking ball over with the 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
And there was the fastball that missed outside. It's 2-1.
Tell you hate to be too hyped about any player, but this young man, like Strawberry last year, is easy to get excited about.
Ground ball to second base. Gardenhire gobbles it up. 1 away here in the 4th. Well, you know, they both, not only do they look alike, but they both have a similar attitude about themselves, whether they're on the field or not. They're under
tough.
Control. They're competitors. They are within themselves. They know what they're about, and they have a great deal of poise and confidence, which is a trite and overused phrase, but they do for young men. Jose Cruz now looks at a ball low. Cruz grounded to short his first time up.
I think you got to have a little meanness in you too, and both of them are tough inside. They're tough young men.
That's right.
I hate the term kids because they're not kids.
No. You have to be a man to be out there.
You got that right.
Two balls, no strikes to Jose Cruz. And 3-0. Gooden ran into a bit of a problem in the 3rd inning, walking Denny Walling, the leadoff batter, and giving up a single to Alan Ashby. But he pitched out of it with a pair of strikeouts, and there's strike 1. It's 3-1.
Good hitting situation for Cruz. He is one of the better cripple hitters in the league. He gets you in a situation where you have to throw a fastball. He can be awfully tough.
And there's the fastball popped up and drifting out of play down the left field line. It's 3-2.
And that gives you an idea how hard Gooden is throwing. When a guy like Jose Cruz, who, as we've said, is a good cripple hitter, If he can't get around on a fastball when he's looking for it, well, that gives you an idea the ball's getting up there pretty pert.
I'll tell you, from this center field shot, you really can't appreciate how hard he throws. Ground ball. Gooden flags it down with a nice play. 2 away. The reason for that, of course, is the ball is moving away from you as you look at it.
Yeah, on television, baseball is such an easy game to play, isn't it?
Even when you're sitting up here,
yeah,
it looks easy.
Yeah, it really does. That monitor really slows things down, it appears, but it is an awfully difficult game to play, as everyone realistically knows.
Jerry Mumphrey looked at a called third strike his first time up, and he takes a ball. Mumphrey hit .262 with the Yankees last year and came over here to Houston and hit .336 as an Astro last year. Right now he's hitting an even .300. Fastball fouled away, and Mumphrey couldn't get around on it.
Don't get around much anymore. Oh, I love it.
It is a great song. Don't hurt it though.
Maybe I should say it. Is that what you're saying?
Our director Bill Webb takes exception. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mumphrey. 2 out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 4th inning with the Mets leading 3-0. Breaking ball, and that was a feeble attempt to hit it right back to Gooden, and a 1-2-3 inning for Dwight on 3 ground balls, 2 of which he fields himself. So we'll go to the 5th from the Astrodome. The Mets still holding a 3-0 lead right after this word from Dotson. Tonight at 7 o'clock, we'll be right back at you here on WOR TV as Mike Torres, the opening day starter in Cincinnati, will go against Joe Niekro. Both pitchers lost their opening games for their respective clubs. It'll be the final game of this 3-game series, 7 o'clock Eastern time from the Dome tomorrow night right here on Channel 9.
And other National League action today, Steve. The Phillies over the Cincinnati Reds. Their old pal Jerry Koosman won his first start for the Phillies. They won 9-1. Frank Pastore, the loser. Ronald John Candelaria, the winner, beating the Dodgers 3-0. Alejandro Pena, the loser. St. Louis at San Francisco. The Cardinals firmly thrashed by the Giants, their first win of the year. The loser, Robinson for the Cardinals. Or I beg your pardon, the winner, Robinson. And the loser, Dave LaPointe. And Montreal over Atlanta, 2-1. That game in the bottom of the 6th now. Palmer relieved by James. Pete Falcone for the Braves.
And here's Mike Fitzgerald, the leader for the 5th inning, and Bob Nepper throws a breaking ball low and inside for ball 1. Fitzgerald single to center his first time up. So Mike 1 for 1 on the year. And this ball's popped up, playable behind first base. Bill Doran, the second baseman, makes the play, and there's 1 out.
In the American League today, 13-4, the Minnesota Twins over the winless Baltimore Orioles. And Detroit, of course, as Ralph mentioned earlier, a no-hitter thrown by Jack Morris as they beat the White Sox 4-0. And that's the record of the Tigers, 4-0. New York losing to Texas in a rain delay game, 8-5. Boston 3-0 over Oakland. Kansas City will host Cleveland later, as will California host Toronto.
Now you're up to date. And Dwight Gooden, for his second major league at bat, takes a called strike. And a ground ball nubbed toward third. Denny Walling up with it. Gooden runs well, but Walling throws him out, and there are 2 away. Walling, of course, playing third base in place of Phil Garner, who is still bothered by that upper respiratory infection. Garner's in uniform and has been working out, but they're going to ease him back to duty, and probably the first appearance might be as a pinch hitter before he actually starts in the lineup. Ron Gardenhire, like all leadoff hitters, taking his time to allow Gooden to get back in the dugout and sit down for a minute, especially with 2 out. Gardenhire is lined to short and struck out swinging. And that's outside, ball 1. Right back up the middle, base hit to center field as it gets through both The shortstop Dickie Thon and the pitcher Bob Nepper, a 2-out single for Ron Gardenhire.
Tell you, that's the way Pete Rose has made his living over the last 22 years. Right back through the originator, he used to say. And that one back right between the wickets of Nepper and Ron Gardenhire on first base. Pete Rose, by the way, will be with those Expos when the Mets host them April 17th, Tuesday.
Yep, 3-game series. A brief homestand. The Mets go back on the road after that, so be there. Pop fly to center field by Jose Oquendo. Mumphrey drifting in, and the inning is over. A hit and no runs, but the Mets still lead the Astros in the middle of the 5th inning, 3-0. Back at the Dome after this word from Exxon. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, we want to remind you of a Channel 9 special presentation. Brooke Shields and Lee Majors host Your Choice for the Film Awards, the People's Choice for this year's Academy Awards, tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock, right here on Channel 9.
And we're in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Mets have a 3-0 lead. Dwight Gooden, in his first major league start, has allowed 1 hit. That an opposite field jam job by Alan Ashby back in the 3rd inning. He has walked 1. He has struck out 5. The walk and the base hit, the only Astros to get on base. The defense has played flawlessly behind him. And the batter, Ray Knight. Ray, a strikeout victim back in the 2nd inning. Ray batting .250 on the year. 4 for 16.
Ray Knight, another one of the Astros who's felt the effects of this virus that's going through the ball club. 19 players on the Astros have had symptoms of the flu.
Fastball strike inside part, 0-1. Fastball ripped to center. Wilson back. On his mule, he makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Yeah, as you stated earlier.
Well, we'll look at it again. Ray Knight gets a hold of this ball, but again, a testament to how hard the ball Strawberry hit was. The ball just doesn't carry here, and Mookie Wilson, who was playing a rather shallow center field, went back with plenty of room to spare to make the catch.
I was going to say, Steve, the one most affected by that virus, as you said earlier, Phil Garner, the 3rd baseman, and he may be back in action tomorrow, but they may give him another 2 days off, as the Astros do have an off day on Monday. Here's Denny Walling. He walked and stole a base in the 3rd. Breaking ball, strike. 0-1 to Denny Walling. Line drive left field, almost a carbon copy of the first hit by Alan Ashby. 2nd hit of the ball game for the Astros, both being singles.
Well, they're still not getting around on Gooden's fastball, but here, at least this time, Walling got the fat part of the bat on it as opposed to Ashby's jam job, but he still has to hit it the other way, a looping single to left. Only the 2nd hit.
And Mike Lacoste, the big right-hander who was in last night's game, is warming. And should Alan Ashby get on there, I would imagine Bob Nepper will be lifted for a pinch hitter. Ashby batting .273. Breaking ball, check swing. Yes, he went around. 0-1. I think it's fair to say that Gooden has made his point, regardless of what happens here on out. It's so very vital to get that first toehold in the National League, or any league, either the National or the American. Breaking ball, strike, 0-2.
And what a beauty. What command he has of that curveball. And you know, Tim, the reason for that, saying getting that toe hold and getting off to a good start, really points up how much the mental aspects of this game come into play. Dwight Gooden obviously has the physical skills, but to get off to a good start does a great deal for his psyche.
Fastball foul back. As Yogi Berra used to say, 90% of hitting is half mental. Right. They blame Yogi for every faux pas and non sequitur in the history of our language, don't they?
If it sounds unusual, Yogi probably said it.
0-2 to Ashby. Breaking ball just misses outside. 3-0. The Mets lead. We're in the bottom of the 5th. solo home run by Darryl Strawberry and a 2-run double by Mookie Wilson. Responsible for the Mets' 3 runs. The Astros having only 2 hits so far. Fastball misses inside, 2-2. As we said earlier, look at Harry Spillman, who may be the hitter in case Alan Ashby gets on. Breaking ball, tapped to first, Hernandez to second. Oquendo covering, not in time, and they get Ashby at first. The throw pulled Oquendo off the bag, but he alertly, and the big thing is they got an out.
Very easily could have come away with nothing, and only Oquendo's quickness saved an out here. Really a routine ground ball or double play ball, but Hernandez just flips the ball wide of second, and Oquendo had to come off the bag to catch the ball, and then almost immediately came back. Gooden hustling over, got his foot stepped on by Ashby, but recorded the out at first base.
So score that 3-6-1 for the putout, as Walling was safe at second base, and the batter's going to be Harry Spillman. A little confab on the mound out there.
Timmy Spillman's been up 1 time so far as a pinch hitter without a hit this season. Manager Davey Johnson looking on, along with hitting instructor Bill Robinson.
Spillman was 13 for 78 for a 167 average last year, primarily as a pinch hitter. He was acquired by the Astros for Rafael Landestoy back in 1981. 29 years old, lives in Albany, Georgia. Denny Walling at second base. So Bob Knepper leaves the ball game, and Mike Lacoste will be the pitcher in the top of the 6th. Fastball low. 1-0 to Harry Spillman. Longtime Cincinnati Red. Fastball is high, 2-0. That's why when you go out and you're facing a new hitter, just go out with a guy like Gooden and say, throw the ball right over the plate. Look for the heart of the plate. With that fastball you got, don't try and be too cute.
That's right. This guy's coming off the bench cold.
Fastball is high, 3-0 to Spillman with Bill Doran on deck. Tough enough to gauge that fastball when you've seen it a couple of times, much less coming up there ice cold. 3-0 to Spillman. Fastball misses. 4 straight balls to Spillman, and Dwight Gooden gives up his 2nd walk of the evening. And the tying run in the person of Bill Doran will be the batter. Doran has struck out and grounded to second. Off to a slow start, only 1 for 14 on the year. Davey Johnson and pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre. Mel loves it too, doesn't he? Working with these young pitchers. Of course, no stranger to the New York scene. Pitched for the Yankees for 13 years. What a competitor he was too. Breaking ball misses. 1-0 to Bill Doran. Astros have runners at first and second. There are 2 out, but the Mets have the lead 3-0. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Fastball misses. 6 straight balls thrown by Gooden. That 1 out that Oquendo got looms very, very large right now.
It appears that Gooden still has good stuff, but may have just lost his rhythm a little bit here.
Fastball is high, 3-0, 7 straight balls thrown by Gooden. The dugout is bustling The Met dugout, that is. And it looks like there's going to be some activity. Junior Ortiz, the catcher, going down to warm up. Dick Tidrow. There's Dick. 3-0 to Bill Doran. Gooden will try to come back on him. No way he'll be hitting here. There's the strike. 3-1. Now you can look for him to hack. You're hitting, partner. Look up here. We'll let you know.
That's right. Don't bother looking down at Dennis Menke.
That's right. You're hitting. You have a child on second base. Fastball, strike, 3-2. Looked like he was taken all the way. Contrary to the strategy in the booth.
Well, that's happened before. And will happen again.
I don't believe he was taken all the way there. Line drive, left field, base hit. George Foster over to cut it off. And he cut it off nicely because he saved another run as Harry Spillman pulls into third. And it's now a 3-1 ball game. Bill Doran delivers. An RBI single to left field as Spillman moves to third. Only Doran's second hit of the year.
Fastball again away, and Doran going the other way with it. George Foster hustling over and really made a fine play to cut this ball off. George may have twisted his ankle a little bit as Oquendo couldn't handle the short hop, but Hernandez alertly backing up prevented the runner at third from advancing on home. Spillman holding there, and Stottlemyre now on the mound to talk it over with Fitzgerald and Gooden. So the shutout is gone. The third hit in the ball game for Houston plates their first run.
I don't think any pitcher worries about a shutout. I think the W is much more important. Mel Stottlemyre knows that. Certainly a veteran of Major League wars with the New York Yankees. Mel's two sons, by the way, go to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas branch. And one of them is a pretty good candidate to play for the Olympic baseball team this year.
Baseball is a demonstration sport in the Olympics for the very first time, and probably in the next Olympics will be a competition.
Terry Poole 0 for 2. Ball hit well to center. Mookie is there, and Terry Poole hit it well, but Mookie Wilson flags it down. So Dwight Gooden is out of further trouble. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. So at the end of 5 innings of play here at the Astrodome, a good ball game. Now here's a word from a good beer, Budweiser. Top of the 6th inning, the Mets lead 3-1, and a new pitcher for the Astros.
Mike Lacoste, whom the Mets have already seen in last night's ball game. Lacoste, as you see, 1-0 in spring training with no ERA. Last year he was 5-7 for Houston with a 4.43 ERA. And he pitched 2 innings last night, giving up 1 hit, no runs. This is his second appearance of the year.
Mike pitched for Cincinnati for 4 years. He was unconditionally released. Kind of a strange thing to happen for a 25-year-old pitcher with an arm like that. And he was picked up by the Astros in '82. He was 6-6 in '82, and as you said, 5-7 last year. And he'll be facing the heart of the Met order, Hernandez, Foster, and Strawberry. 3-1 Mets. Fastball is outside to Hernandez, who's 1 for 2 with a run scored.
Well, Swanee had to get some help after last night. Ron Darling also helping him guard Dick Tidrow in the bullpen. If you were with us, you saw Swanee almost have a heart attack.
Hernandez gets a piece of it, fouls it back, 1-1.
Last night, the ball was hit sharply into the bullpen, and I don't know if Craig wasn't watching or what, but it almost ate him alive. He had to go into the dugout and recuperate.
I don't know what that says about the size of a pitcher when it takes 2 guys to guard him.
Tidrow's a pretty big guy.
1-1 to Hernandez. Fastball is outside, 2-1. With Tidrow continuing to throw, would you think that Dwight Gooden has seen the end of his pitching tonight after that shaky 5th inning? Ground ball to Thon, who throws out Keith Hernandez. And there's 1 away.
Well, you bring up an interesting point. Would they let him go on if there were nothing physically wrong with him? Or would they feel that at this point in the season, as young as he is, that that's just as much as they want him to throw, having kept track of how many pitches he's thrown to this point?
Well, Ralph Kiner just brought up an interesting point. It could be that Dwight is having problems with that index finger again. So we'll see whether he comes out to answer the bell in the 6th as Foster steps up. Pops up right side. Could be playable. Night over. And ball into the first or second row of the stands. 0-1 to George, who's 1 for 2 with the run scored.
Foster's home run last night, the 290th of his career. He and Rusty Staub are tied for 50th place on the all-time home run list.
290 dingers, huh? It's a lot of times going around those bases. Our colleague Ralph Kiner went around them 368 times in only 10 years.
That's hitting him.
Sinker tap foul. 0-2 to George Foster. That's 36.8 home runs a year for 10 years. Ralph ranking second to Babe Ruth in home run ratio per at bat.
And Ralph hit a lot like the one Strawberry hit tonight. High and deep.
Hit a lot down the left field line too, from what I understand. Low fastballs. No wonder he doesn't like guys being pitched down and in. Kiner's corner. Old Forbes Field. 1-2 to Foster. He got him with a slider. So Foster goes down on strikes. A good pitch to George.
Breaks right straight down, and George swings right over the top of it.
You know, the Mets went 8-1 last night, and 11 Mets went down on strikes for the evening.
And that along with 14 base hits for the Mets.
A lot of activity. Here's Strawberry. Homered his first time up tonight. Slider on the outside part of the plate. A little teaser. It's 0-1 to Darrell. Slider is low. 1-1 to Darrell Strawberry. Darrell's second home run of the year. He has 2 of the 3 the Mets have, as you mentioned. George Foster with the other one last night. There's that slider in on the fist there. So it's 1-2 to Darrell Strawberry. LaCosse, a very unusual delivery. He's 6'5", weighs 190 pounds. Looks like it's all arms and legs coming at you.
Speaking of legs, Strawberry still bothered by a slight hamstring pull in his right leg and still playing with it taped up.
Well, he went for a bad ball, lifts it to left field. Jose Cruz, the left fielder, makes the one-handed catch. And for the first time in this ball game, the Mets are retired in order. As we go to the middle of the 6th, they have a 3-1 lead. Now here's a word from Ivory. Well, we're back, and the Mets have a new pitcher. As we theorized in the top of the 6th, it's Dr. Dirt, Dick Tidrow.
And as you see, a spring training record 0-2, but a good ERA of 2.53. This is his second appearance. He pitched the opening day game, 1 inning in relief at Cincinnati, gave up no hits, no runs, struck out 1 batter. Last year with the White Sox, Tidrow 2-4 with a 4.22 ERA. And so the doctor, Dwight Gooden, sits down after 5 innings of work. He gave up 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 5, and walked 2.
And an outstanding job in his major league debut. Dwight Gooden. Dick Tidrow will face Dickie Thon, who's 0 for 2 on the evening. Thon betting .385. Fastball outside to Dickie Thon, who led the National League in game-winning RBIs last year. Dick Tidrow used to be with the Yankees, the Chicago Cubs. Line drive, base hit for Dickie Thon to left field. So the Astros have the leadoff runner on for the second time in this ball game. Denny Walling led off the 3rd inning with the base on balls, and the tough Jose Cruz will be the batter. Thon a threat to run. At 34 stolen bases last year. Cruz 0 for 2 on the evening.
Dickie Thon now has hit in all 4 games so far this year the Astros have played.
Coming into this game, only 2 Mets had hit in all of their games, that being Wally Backman and Hubie Brooks. And Mike Fitzgerald coming out of there. You really got to be careful with the guy on first base like that. If you lift that rear end, a lot of times you can block that umpire out of that pitch.
I think he might have taken a strike away there because that ball was right at the knees and over the plate.
You got to keep your rear end low when you're coming out of that chute to give the umpire a good shot. You end up throwing better too. Thon not going. Fastball inside. 2-0. The Mets lead 3-1, but the Astros threatening. The tough Jose Cruz with a count 2-0. Thon at first, nobody out. Fastball low, and Dick Tidrow wanted that pitch. He glares in to Joe West, the home plate umpire. 3-0 to Cruz. There's a strike. You see Fitzy's coming up too soon back there, and that can really mess an umpire up. Because after all, the out's more important than thwarting the stolen base right here. They've got a 2-run lead, not a 1-run lead. 3-1 to Cruz. Thon not going. Fastball outside, and Jose Cruz is on there. So the Astros have runners at first and second. We're in the 6th, and Jerry Mumphrey going down to talk to third base coach Dennis Menke. Fine shortstop for the Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves, and here with the Astros, Cincinnati Reds, 13-year Major League veteran. And Frank DiPino, the left-hander, warming for the Astros. What a year he had last year with 20 saves.
He's the reason many people feel the Astros have one of the best bullpens around, even without Joe Sambito.
He, along with Bill Dawley, who had 14 saves last year. Here's Mumphrey. He's 0 for 2 this evening, and he tries to bunt. And it's an errant attempt, and it's 0-1. Mets will probably try to make sure of the sure out here instead of trying anything so fancy. Got to get the one sure out here. They lead by 2, but the Astros are threatening. 0-1 to Mumphrey. You know what Tidrow was doing then? He was staring off the signs. A lot of pitchers like to do that. They don't shake off, they stare it off. Thon at second, Cruz at first, nobody out. Fastball, he was ripping, and he swings through a fastball. 0-2 to Jerry Mumphrey. Good time for a double play, Stevie, my boy.
Well, they don't call it the pitcher's best friend for nothing.
Ray Knight on deck.
These are the situations where it becomes a pitcher's bosom buddy.
Fastball had a funny swing at that. It's still 0-2.
Looked like he's made up his mind late. Stuck his rear end out and just put the head of the bat on the ball. Here it is again. Count of 0-2. Just kind of flailed at it.
That is not your Spalding guide
No.
swing that you saw there.
No.
Jerry Mumphrey, a good ball player. As you said earlier, he had 336 last year in 41 games for the Astros. Outfield deep. Mookie Wilson shading Jerry toward left center field. 0-2 the count. Fastball misses inside. 1-2. Had a long talk with Dick about the fact that I never could hit him and I couldn't figure it out. And he was talking about the hesitation in his pitch as we look at Davey Johnson, L. Stottlemyre. There's a hesitation at the top of his kick that always fools left-handed hitters. Fastball gets by Fitzgerald. Oh, boy. It looked like the ball should have been handled, but we'll see how they score it.
You'll get a chance to see it again. 1 ball and 2 strike count, and Fitzgerald should have caught that ball.
You know, you talk about that hesitation. A lot of times your catchers do what a hitter would do. Even though he knows what's coming. This ball, it is scored a pass ball. I thought they would give him a pass ball because the ball wasn't in the dirt. So runners at second, third now. Still no outs, I should say. And it's 2-2 to Mumford. Ooh. Just misses outside. 3-2 to Jerry Mumford.
Tidrow still glaring at home plate umpire Joe West, and with good reason. The second close call that has gone the Astros' way.
Fastball is outside, and he loads him up. Jerry Mumphrey goes to first base. The second walk in the inning given up by Tidrow. And that's going to get Ed Lynch up in the bullpen. There's Ed Lynch. The Astros trail by 2, but they have the bases loaded, nobody out. We're in the 6th. Ray Knight, the batter. Ray 0 for 2. He's due, of course, batting .231. He's a good RBI man, but he does not run well, which means that he's good for 2 also if he gets it on the ground.
And the Mets are playing their infield at double play depth.
Most certainly. Ball ripped to left field, way back. That ball is foul by inches. Oh, boy. Ray Knight gave it a Carlton Fisk shot. If you remember the famous shot in 1975 when Fisk tried a little body English on the ball he hit in the 6th game of the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds. And Ray Knight tried to do the same thing on that ball that he hit against Tidrow.
Within a foot or two of a grand salami as Knight really turns on it and hits it deep down the left field line. See the orange line in the foul pole going up. And that ball lands above the orange line, hits the screen just a couple of feet left and in foul territory of the foul pole.
Ray Knight is the last player to hit 2 home runs in 1 inning against the New York Mets. There have been 20 others, or 19 others, to do that. And he almost had himself a grand salami there, awfully close.
Do you mean 2 home runs in 1 inning?
Did I say 1 inning?
Yeah.
Yes. Base hit left field. Foster in. Cruz is going to try to score the throw. And he got him. Oh, boy. Jose Cruz not sliding. And the on-deck hitter, Denny Walling, said nothing to him. So it's a combination of errors and a nice play by Fitzgerald.
And a good throw from Foster as well. Base hit by Ray Knight, plates 1 to make it 3-2 as Thon scores from third. Foster's throw is a strong one. And Fitzgerald, as Hubie Brooks lets it go, Fitzgerald plays it on the bounce, comes back and makes the tag right before Cruz steps on the plate. And as you said, the on-deck hitter, Denny Walling, said nothing to him about getting down.
Neither did Dickie Thon, who had scored the run. So a big break for the Mets on a nice throw and a good play by Fitzgerald. Nice throw by Foster. Why wasn't Mumphrey and Knight? Why didn't they move up a base to make him cut the ball off? A lot of things went wrong on that play. Fastball strike to Walling.
With Mumphrey's speed, he should be on third base right now easily with that ball going through to home plate, but he's not.
Ball hit sharply to left field, and even with no out, Dennis Menke sent him. Jose Cruz, that is. Fastball is outside, 1-1 to Walling. Boy, what a break that was. One out. The Astros have runners at first and second. Foul ball, 1-2 by Walling.
Walling did not have a good swing at that pitch, and again you may be seeing what you talked about, Timmy, how left-handers have a problem with that hesitation in the motion. Mumphrey before flailing at a ball, and that time Walling didn't have a good cut.
I know I always had problems hitting this guy. It's tough to pick up, and he would throw balls in an area where you would normally hack and have a good hack at him. Down and in area. 1-2 to Walling. Struck him out. And you know, even with that swing, he looked unsure of that swing.
And that was down and in again.
And a big strikeout for Tidrow.
This ball breaking down and in. And as you see Walling's hand coming off the bat, he did not have a good swing. He didn't really get into the ball at all. So Tidrow tough on the left-handers.
Not out of the woods yet. Alan Ashby, who's 1 for 2, will be the batter. The Astros have 5 hits. The Mets with 7 hits in the lead, 3-2. You saw the Mets win a ball game on Wednesday night when Junior Ortiz tried to go to second base on a base hit to right where Hubie Brooks would have been a dead duck at home. That was the first run of the game that Darling won 2-0. And tonight, had the Astros traded that run for the out, it would be a tie ball game right now.
But they didn't force the play and make the Mets cut the ball off.
2 out, first and second, 3-2 Mets. We're in the 6th of a good ball game. Strike. 0-1 to Ashby. Lynch still warming for the Mets, and DePino still warming for the Astros. Slider misses away. 1-1 to Ashby. I think the tension for this early in the season is probably the way it is because everybody's pulling for Dwight Gooden to sink his teeth into his first major league win, huh?
I would think so. And the Astros, of course, have been not going well.
Fastball misses inside. 2-1.
They're feeling a little bit of the pressure to get their season started, especially thinking back to last year. Although they've won a game this year, last year they lost their first 9.
Early season woes may have cost them a pennant last year. They only trailed the Dodgers by 6 games when the season ended. 2-1 to Ashby. Fastball, strike, just got the inside corner. So Joe West taketh away, and Joe West giveth.
This ball really runs in on Ashby. It looks like he cuts it a little bit. Tidrow's delivery, sweeping across the inside corner.
So it's 2-2 to Alan Ashby. Deuces are wild. 2 outs, 2-2 on the hitter. 3-2 the score. Mets are up. Nice play, Fitzgerald. But Fitzgerald, who had a pass ball earlier in the inning, comes back and makes a nice play on a ball in the dirt.
Fitzgerald pouncing over now, keeping those hands down and getting his body in front of the ball. Looked like the ball ran right up his right arm.
That's what you want it to do.
That's right. Any part of that body on the ball is the important thing, to keep it in front of you.
Yeah, you coddle it. Just like a strawberry sundae. 3-2 to Ashby. Fastball misses. It's low, and that's going to load him up. So the bases are loaded once more. 3rd walk in the inning given up by Tidrow. And we'll see who the batter's going to be. Probably that Craig Reynolds, who pinch hit in last night's game.
Nope.
And that's wrong again. It's going to be Enos Cabell.
Cabell coming back to the Astros from the Detroit Tigers during the offseason. Can play a couple of different positions and pinch hit.
Now the Mets got a big break when George Foster threw out Jose Cruz at home plate earlier in the inning for the first out of the inning. Tidrow got Walling on strikes, but now he walks Alan Ashby. Frank DePino will be the pitcher in the 7th inning.
Last year with Detroit, Cabell hit .311 with 5 homers and 46 RBIs, his career high batting average.
He left the Houston Astros initially, along with Chris Borgios, for Bob Nepper, the starting pitcher in tonight's game, who stands to be the loser. He cannot win it. Two out, bases loaded.
Excuse me, Timmy. This is Cabell's first at bat this year.
Slider strike, so Tidrow's ahead of him 0-1. Cabell came to the Astros initially in the Lee May trade back in 1974. So he's much traveled, but I'm sure he feels like he's back home here in the Dome. Swing and a miss, and another slider, 0-2. And I remember this guy very vividly, Steve. You could throw the ball under a plate when you get ahead of him, and he'll swing at it. He's as free a swinger with 2 strikes as anybody around. Bases loaded, 0. Fitzgerald shifting outside. Line drive, center field, and Mookie Wilson's there, and he makes the catch. So a big break for the Mets with Foster throwing out Cruz, but the Astros do score 1. 2 hits. There were 3 walks in the inning. No outs, no errors, and 3 men left on at the end of 6 in a great ball game. It's 3-2 New York. Now a word from Dotson.
Well, fans, don't fail to miss all the action of the next Mets home game right here on Channel 9, or rather the game on the road, I should say. The Mets again will take on the Houston Astros tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here on Channel 9. Tomorrow night at 7, the final game of this 3-game series, so don't miss it. On Channel 9, the home of the Mets. And a fellow who has been around the Mets as long as the Mets have been the Mets is back in, and as well as a new pitcher for the Astros. Here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Steve, and the new pitcher, hard throwing DePino, and he is something else. Mets 3 runs on 7 hits, and the Astros 2 runs on 5.
DePino was 3-4 last year with a 2.65 ERA.
DePino signed out of a tryout camp by Milwaukee, and he was in the Don Sutton trade. Came over with Kevin Bass and Mike Madden for Don Sutton. Last year was 5-6 with 20 saves, and his first pitch, a strike to Mookie Wilson.
Well, Jay Horwitz, our PR director, informs me that Dwight Gooden was taken out of the ball game because his limit on pitches that they had projected going into the ball game was reached, and there's nothing physically wrong with him. The finger's not bothering him, and he didn't hurt himself in any way. He's just thrown as many pitches as they'd like for him to tonight, and so Dwight's out of there.
And he's on the plus side of this ball game, winning side at this point, with the Mets leading by a score of 3-2. Mookie Wilson has doubled in 2 times up, and his double drove in 2 big runs for the Mets. And it's strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mookie last season batted .276 with 7 home runs and was the leadoff batter for the Mets. Had 54 stolen bases. Leading off here in the top of the 7th. Ground ball. It is foul off of Mookie's foot. So Mookie will try and shake it off. Bob Nepper, the pitcher record on the losing side, worked the first 5 innings, was charged with 3 runs on 7 that struck out 2. Lacoste worked 1 inning. And now DePino in the ball game here in the 7th. Mookie, a natural right-hand batter, learned how to switch it when he turned over to the left-hand side. 1-2. Stayed alive on the foul ball.
DePino's making his first appearance here in 1984 for Houston.
Boy, he broke in well in his first major league start for Houston. He struck out 10 batters in 5 innings, striking out his first 4. Won that ball game against San Diego. Strike 3. So DePino comes in with a fastball and picks up his first victim. And that'll bring up Hubie Brooks. Pino from Syracuse, New York. Made his major league debut against the Yankees on September 15th, 1981, while pitching for Milwaukee. And a strike call. Looped into center field, going over as Jerry Mumphrey, and he tracks it down. So Hubie Brooks flies out to center field, 2 men away. And that'll bring up Mike Fitzgerald, who has a base hit and 2 times up. Fitzgerald singled to center field in the 3rd. Last base hit the Mets had was back in the 5th inning, a single by Gardenhire. Ross Jones in the on-deck circle for the Mets as the pitchers do up next. That's ball 1.
Elsewhere in the National League, it was Philadelphia 9-1 over Cincinnati. Pittsburgh shut out L.A. 3-0. Candelaria, the starter and winner. San Francisco pounded St. Louis 11-0. And there's other action tonight.
You know, a little known fact, at least it's not publicized to any extent, Candelaria has one of the best percentage win records in baseball.
Does he? Well, he's a good one. And unhappy in Pittsburgh.
2 balls, no strikes to Mike Fitzgerald. Now ball 3.
Montreal is leading Atlanta 5-2, bottom of the 8th inning. Benedict a home run for Atlanta. Wallach a home run for Montreal. Chicago has scored at San Diego in the top of the 1st and lead 1-0. Trout against Whitson. And we'll check the American League later.
Ball 4, so the Mets get a base runner as Fitzgerald walks with 2 men away.
That's the first walk that the Astros pitchers have allowed as you look at Doug Sisk in the Mets bullpen now. Minnesota beat Baltimore 13-4. Detroit shut out Chicago 4-0 as Jack Morris pitched a no-hitter today. In a rain-shortened game, Texas beat the Yankees 8-5. Boston shut out Oakland 3-0. And Cleveland at Kansas City was rained out. Toronto leads California 1-0, bottom of the 2nd. No score 1st inning. Milwaukee at Seattle.
And the batter for the Mets is Ross Jones, acquired from the Dodger organization. And the appeal play, no swing, says first base umpire Doug Harvey. So it's ball 1.
Ross Jones batting for the 2nd time this year, both as a pinch hitter without a hit.
And batting for Dick Tedrow, who worked 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, was charged with 1 run. It was earned, walked 3, and struck out 1. Now a strike called. It's 1-1. Ross Jones was not on the Mets main roster, but had a good spring and made the ball club. Batting with a runner at first base, Mike Fitzgerald there. 2 men out in the top of the 7th. The Mets leading 3-2. 2 balls and a strike. Pino taking up some of the slack when Houston lost Joe Sambito, their ace left-handed relief pitcher. Sambito still trying to recover from an arm operation. Did pitch some this spring with a positive spring training, but on the disabled list at this point. And that's ball 3. 3 balls and a strike.
Ross Jones played for Albuquerque last year, the Dodgers AAA farm club in the Pacific Coast League. He hit .273 there.
And when you talk about Albuquerque, you have to keep in mind that it's a mile-high city, or just about that high. The ball travels very well there. Ball fouled away. So the count goes to 3-2, and the runner at first base, Fitzgerald, will be running with the pitch. Ross Jones, a utility infielder, and taking the place of Bob Baylor in the Mets plans. Baylor going to the Dodgers. Runner goes, and that is ball 4. Now the Mets have runners at first and second with 2 men out. And the bat coming up for the Mets is Ron Gardenhire. Ron with a base hit and 3 times up. The last Met to get a base hit back in the 5th. And a ball. Mets will be playing their first Sunday night game tomorrow night. Gardenhire the batter, DePino the pitcher. And ball 2. Well, Tidrow having trouble on the mound. In the bottom of the 6th inning, walking 3, and now DePino behind with a count of 2 balls and no strikes after walking 2.
And Jerry Walker, one of the 2 pitching coaches that the Astros have, along with Les Moss, going out to talk to him, is Bill Dolly, the right-handed stopper, and the Astros bullpen warms up.
Last year, Les Moss was the pitcher. Last year, Les Moss was the pitching coach.
Good ones, you take the bat.
2-0 the count. Good hitting spot here for Gardenhire. Gets a fastball and he can't handle it, so the count now 2-1. For Davy Johnson last season and hit .287. He was a .063 hitter for the Mets in 17 games. Got a tough job here. Back to the fastball. It's hit to right field. Terry Poole will get it. And that catch retires aside. So the Mets get 2 walks and leave 2, and the score at the end of 6.5 innings. The Mets 3 and Houston 2. Fans, the best way to enjoy Mets baseball is with 1984 season tickets with a home opener late this year. That'll be on April 17th. There's still plenty of time to come to Shea and select from the choice seat locations still available on a season basis. For season tickets, there's no waiting on lines. You maintain the best seats for the big promotional days, and you'll receive a substantial discount from the regular per game ticket price. Best of all, you're near the action all year as the young Mets battle their National League opponents. If you don't want the full season plan, there are plenty of smaller ticket plans to choose from. So take advantage of the best sports buy in town and call for further information. Dial 212-507-TIXX. That's 507-TIXX. And please call Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Well, Doug Siss, the new pitcher for the Mets, had a fine spring, was 3-1 with a 2.98 ERA.
And this is his second appearance. Wednesday night, he saved the game as Junior Ortiz is in to catch. Doug Siss picked up the save in relief of Ron Darling as the Mets picked up their first win. He pitched 3 innings against the Reds, gave up 1 hit and struck out 2.
And Siss working to the leadoff batter, Bill Duran, here in the bottom half of the 7th. The Mets leading 3-2. They had 3 runs on 7 hits. The Astros 2 runs on 5. First pitch a ball, and now a foul ball. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
Last year with the Mets, Doug Sisk picked up the opening day win in relief of Tom Seaver and had a record of 5-4 with 11 saves and a 2.24 ERA.
And he set a mid-record for appearances with 67, breaking a record of 63 held by Skip Lockwood. Fastball, and it's ball 2. 2-1 the count. Duran in this game 1 for 3, had a base hit in the 5th off of the starting pitcher Dwight Gooden, the doctor. Got a strike, 2-2. Opening day, Doug Sisk got his first major league win, working 3 innings against the Phillies. Vern Rule, the veteran Vern Rule, throwing in the bullpen for Houston. Ground ball slowly out to the first base side. Hernandez will try for it, and he does make the play. It's a tough play. Hernandez decided he'd better take it himself and had to make the dive to the bag to get there.
Well, he found out that Doug Sisk could record the out.
As Hernandez picks up the ball, he can see right away that Sisk isn't over, and he has to dive and makes a fine play to record the out as Doran runs very well. Hernandez, probably the best fielding first baseman in the game.
So 1 away, and the batter will be Terry Poole. Poole 0 for 3. As you look at the Golden Glover, Keith Hernandez. Poole, an idea about bunting Hubie Brooks at third base, was right on top of that play. And Poole taking the pitch, it was out of the strike zone. Poole hitting .267 in this short season. 2-0.
Well, if there's been one consistent problem that Doug Sisk has had, it's been allowing too many walks.
And pitching behind hitters. Did have a earned run average last year, 2.24. And he misses again, 3-0. Strangely enough, Steve, he was a sharpshooter and almost made the 1976 Olympic rifle team, and he really could hit the target there.
This is a little different.
There's a sinking fastball. He has a lot of movement on his fastball, and that might be one of the reasons why he has control problems. Dickie Thon in the on-deck circle. He's a tough man. And this ball hitting the air to left field. Foster back near the warning track. And he makes the play. Sisk has given up only 2 home runs in his major league career. One to Mike Schmidt and one to Andre Dawson. They both won ball games against him. And here's Dickie Thon. Dickie 1 for 3 in tonight's ball game. Single to left field off Dick Tidrow in the 6th inning. Later on scored. Mets leading 3-2. 2 men away, bottom half of the 7th. And in the dirt. The catcher is Junior Ortiz. He came in the ball game with Doug Sisk. And we'd assume that they're heading straight up in the batting order. And again, he's behind, 2-0. Just constantly pitching behind the hitters. Thon with 20 home runs last season has amazing power for his size. And he fouls off the sinker, 2-1. Thon gave up childhood for baseball.
He started young.
Started at 5 years of age.
I don't think baseball players ever give up childhood.
You think this is a kid's game, huh?
No, it's a man's game, but you got to have some child in you.
Now they count at 2-2 in the foul ball. Well, I've seen players cry like babies. We're inside at the Astrodome, and one of the things about here, it's very quiet when Houston's not doing anything. Now it goes to a full count of 3-2. Sisk received a degree in criminal justice from Washington State. And sometimes what he does to the opposition is criminal.
They have a good baseball program at Washington State.
That Pac-10 now is one of the tough ones.
Yep.
Used to be the Pac-8. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball right at Hubie Brooks, a one-hopper. And the side retired. So in the inning, Houston goes down in order, and the score at the end of 7. The Mets 3 and Houston 2. Now word from Lincoln Mercury. Jose Oquendo, the leadoff for the Mets. We're in the top of the 8th inning. The Mets leading by a score of 3-2. It'll be Oquendo, Hernandez, and Foster for the Mets against the hard-throwing DePino. And Oquendo looking for his second base hit. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Frank DiPino on the mound for Houston. And it's grounded out to the third base side off the glove of Dennis Walling, and it should go as an error. So Kendo on at first base with no one out here in the top of the 8th inning. The Mets looking for insurance runs.
And it is scored an error as Walling comes over, and it should have been a fairly routine play. He just flipped it out of the webbing of his glove. It just went right off the top. But the Mets have a base runner on with nobody out.
And that is the first error of this ball game. This has been a fine game. Started back by Bob Nipper for Houston and Dwight Gooden for the Mets. Gooden making his major league debut. And he is the pitcher on the plus side right now as the Mets lead 3-2. Keith Hernandez the batter. The runner goes, and the ball hit out to the third base side. It will drop in for a base hit. Oquendo on his way to third, and he'll make that. Hernandez a big turn at first and decides to hold. So Hernandez back to first base on the hit and run play, and the Mets now have runners at first and third with no one out.
Well, get the bat on the ball is the object in the hit and run, and Keith did just that. Fortunately for he and the Mets, it fell in, and Davy Johnson continues to play that hit and run baseball, and it's first and third a la last night with nobody out.
Well, the hit and run play, the type of play that forces the batter to get the bat on the ball, and you get a lot of bloop base hits on it. He has to protect their runner, and in that case Hernandez was protecting the runner and came up with a base hit. And now it's George Foster. Foster doubled over the head of Terry Poole in right field back in the 4th inning for his base hit in this game. He's 1 for 3. Last night he was 4 for 5 with a home run. And Houston playing in for a play at the plate. They have their infield in, and the fastball for ball 1. Frank DiPino walked 2 batters in his first inning to work, and now has given up a base hit. Misses again. It's ball 2, and the count 2-0. Foster with that white bat. In his major league career, he's always used a black bat. I went to the white bat yesterday and got 4 for 5. Oquendo the runner at third. Hernandez at first. Ground ball pulled foul. So the count 2 balls and a strike.
Well, this time Swanee didn't have to go into the dugout for repairs, at least.
Last night's ball game, if you missed it, Swan almost got decapitated out there trying to guard the warming up pitcher.
Jesse Orozco is throwing in the bullpen. That's the reason Swan is out there.
2-1 the count. And now 2-2. Foster so far this season hitting .375, and that is Jesse Orozco. Two pitches struck him out. So a big strikeout as Foster is sent back to the bench. 1 away now.
Second strikeout for DiPino. The first one was looking, and George swings at a pitch that is not in the strike zone. A little over anxious. And it looked too as if he wanted to pull that ball, and that's close to impossible.
Big strikeout. Strawberry. Darrell homered over the center field fence in the second. That was his second home run of the season. He also has grounded out and flied out. Houston with their infield set up at a halfway point at short and second, almost in. And a strike. Bill Dolly throwing in the bullpen for Houston. Missed with a breaking ball and they counted 1 ball and 1 strike.
The Astros are not really playing a double play depth in the middle of the infield, which of course now with the strikeout of Foster could end the inning. Strawberry, however, a very difficult fellow to double up, and should they get that kind of ball, they're going to have a tough angle to turn it at second base, but they are concerned about allowing another run to the Mets.
Don't believe they can make a double play on a ground ball against Strawberry. And that's strike 2. 1-2. Well, back in the 5th inning, Gooden pitched out of a big jam with some fine pitching. Now DePino trying to do the same. One ball, 2 strikes. Pino set to go. Struck him out. So with a runner on third and no one out, Foster and Strawberry strike out. That leaves it up to Mookie Wilson.
Left-hander tough on left-handers as he runs that ball away. Darrell hit his home run off the left-handed starter Nepper. But this time the left-hander DePino won the battle.
Mookie had a 2-out double to drive in 2 runs in the 4th inning. He is 1 for 3 in the game. And it's popped up and it's playable. First baseman Ray Knight in foul territory making the call. And the catch, and DePino pitches out of a big jam. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 7.5 innings is the Mets 3 and the Astros 2. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. Well, we're going now to the bottom half of the 8th. The Mets leading 3-2. And the Mets ace reliever Jesse Orosco making his first appearance in the regular season. 1-0 in the spring with an earned run average of 0. And Jesse coming in the ball game here with the Mets holding a 1-run lead. And coming in for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriskie.
Thank you, Ralph. Jesse, of course, an outstanding year last year. 13-7 with a 1.47 ERA and 17 saves. Jose Cruz, Jerry Mumphrey, and Ray Knight in the bottom of the 8th for the Astros. Mets leading 3-2, and Cruz, who's 0 for 2 plus a walk, hit .306 against left-handers last year. Fouled off, strike 1. Jose hitting .318 last year overall. So the Mets have the guy they want out there in this situation with a 1-run lead late in the ball game in Jesse Orosco. Strike 2.
Last time Jesse pitched was back on March 27th in spring training.
And a 2-strike pitch fouled off. It's still 0-2.
Jesse, of course, was devastating last year. Had the lowest ERA in the National League. He also was the choice for the Manufacturers Hanover Award, where he received a beautiful painting by Leroy Neiman.
And again, Cruz fouls it off. Still 0-2. Jose is off to a slow start, hitting only 100 so far this year. Got that first hit last night. Ground ball. Gardenhire charging and makes a good strong throw. There's one away. Not a routine play. And here's the switch hitting Jerry Mumphrey, who will bat from the right side against Orosco. Mumphrey 0 for 2 plus a walk, struck out looking and tapped back to the pitcher. Hitting .273. A feeble swing, strike 1. Astros have shown a propensity to swing at the first pitch all night long tonight, regardless of who's pitching. And strike two.
Whatever happened to Eddie, of course, in his heyday? Tried to get on base any way he could, hit by a pitch ball, fouling balls off time after time after time. Could name Ron Hunt the same way.
You don't see too many guys that'll take two and hit to right anymore, do you?
Not at all. Ron Hunt was hit 50 times in one season. The all-time record. Of course, he's been hit more times than anybody that ever played the game.
And he has the bruises to show it.
I used to wear a wetsuit underneath his uniform, though, and the bruises didn't last as long.
2-2 now. Ortiz reminding Orozco to get up on top with his delivery. And the breaking ball high again, and the count is full after Jesse had Mumphrey 0-2.
And both those last two curveballs were hanging curves.
Orozco made 4 appearances versus Houston last year. 10 innings of work. He gave up 5 hits, walked 1 and struck out 7. Fouled hard into the stands. He had 3 no decisions and 1 save.
Take a look at Orozco's movement. It's tough on left-hand batters and tough on right-hand batters, and he was obtained from the Twins for Jerry Kuzman.
Outside, ball 4, a 1-out walk here in the bottom of the 8th to Jerry Mumphrey. Puts the tying run on base.
6th walk given up by Met pitchers in this game.
And here's Ray Knight. Knight with an RBI single to left his last time up. Also struck out and flied to center.
Ray Knight thought he had tied this ball game with that single, but Jose Cruz, who was on second base, failed to slide it home and was thrown out by George Foster. And at this point in the ball game, the key play of the game.
Breaking ball high again. Knight, who hit .304 last year, hitting .286 so far this season. He's driven in 3 runs.
Just narrowly missed a grand slam home run his last time up. Ball was fouled by about 3 feet.
Popped up and playable. Gardenhire drifting out into short right field. Makes the catch. And this is not an easy ballpark for those high pop flies, even with the roof painted.
Looked like the wind got that one.
Sometimes you can't pick that ball up very easily, but Gardenhire stayed with it, and now there are 2 out. And here's Denny Walling. Walling walked and stole a base in the 3rd, singled to left and scored in the 5th, and struck out swinging in the 6th. Now hitting .182. Orozco chases Mumphrey back.
Mumphrey can steal. He has outstanding speed.
And again, Orozco goes over there.
Mumphrey, along with Gene Richards and Ozzie Smith, all 3 stole over 50 bases in one season for the San Diego Padres. The first time that was ever done in the National League.
Good fastball from Jesse, and Ortiz fakes a throw down to first base. 0-1 on Denny Walling. Mumphrey stole only 7 bases last year, but as you said, Ralph, has good speed and is certainly capable. Little flip throw over.
That throw is legal as long as you break contact with the pitching rubber.
Breaking ball right in there. It's 0-2. And although Jesse has walked Jerry Mumphrey in this inning, he's been ahead of every hitter. He was 0-2 on Mumphrey before he walked him. Fly ball to center field. Mookie Wilson drifting over toward left, has plenty of room, and the inning is over. So Roscoe gives up a walk, but no runs, and we'll go to the 9th inning here in the Astrodome with the Mets holding a 1-run lead over Houston. Right after this word from Budweiser. All this week, every movie here on Channel 9 is an Academy Award winner. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, Kirk Douglas, Sir Laurence Olivier, and Gene Simmons star in Spartacus. Right here on Channel 9 as we salute Oscar all this week.
Final scores in the National League: Philadelphia 9, Cincinnati 1. Jerry Kuzman the winner, and McGraw got a save. Sounds like 1973. Pittsburgh over the Dodgers 3-0. Candelaria the winning pitcher. He did not go all the way. San Francisco shut out St. Louis 11-0. Winning pitcher was Robinson. The loser LaPointe. Robinson did not go all the way. Montreal defeated Atlanta 7-2. Palmer the winner, Falcone the loser. And at the end of 2, Chicago 1, San Diego 0. Trout against Whitson. In the American League, Minnesota beat Baltimore 13-4. A no-hitter for Jack Morris. Detroit winning 4-0. Yankees lost to Texas 8-5. Boston over Oakland 3-0. Cleveland and Kansas City rained out. Other games later on.
Hubie Brooks, who's 0 for 3, leads off and lofts a fly ball to left field. Jose Cruz drifts in and makes the catch, 1 away. Frank DePino still on the mound for the Astros, the 3rd Houston pitcher of the night, as the Mets lead it 3-2 here in the top of the 9th inning. And Junior Ortiz will be the batter. Ortiz in the ball game, replacing Mike Fitzgerald, who started. And Junior lines one hard into the seats behind the Houston dugout for strike 1. I hope they were watching the game. Ortiz hitting .259. In the dirt, 1-1. Mike Fitzgerald was 1 for 2 plus a walk.
Pino, working his 3rd inning, has given up just 1 hit.
Fouled off, 1-2. That 1 hit, a single by Keith Hernandez in the 8th inning. The Mets had runners at 1st and 3rd with nobody out and failed to score as DePino struck out Foster, Strawberry, and got Wilson to pop up to first baseman Ray Knight. So the Mets still looking for some insurance to take into the bottom of the 9th here in Houston. Breaking ball grounded right back through the middle. Second baseman Bill Doran has it. 2 away. And Jesse Orosco will bat for himself here with 2 out and nobody on in the 9th. Obviously, you want Jess on the hill in the bottom of the 9th.
And the bottom of the 9th, they have the 8th, 9th, and 1st place hitters scheduled up. So we'll see a pinch hitter for the pitcher for sure.
Ball 1. Orosco batted .333 last year, 4 for 12. He's a .176 lifetime hitter.
You could have left that out. .333 he would have liked.
Well, he's improved a lot, you see. 1-1, 2 out, nobody on. And ball 2.
DePino has walked 2. Struck out 3. Fastball fouled off, and it's 2-2.
Jesse from Santa Barbara, California.
The count is full now.
I guess the best ball player from Santa Barbara was Eddie Matthews.
He was a good one.
Hall of Famer.
One of my boyhood heroes, as a matter of fact.
I hope he didn't hear that.
Now, Ralph, I'm not that old. Jesse's staying alive. The count's still 3-2. For some reason, before the Giants and the Dodgers moved to the West Coast when I was a kid growing up in California, I adopted the Braves as my team. Followed their exploits.
Knowing you, they must have been winning at the time.
Jesse
You didn't
fouled
say
off a pretty good pitch.
You didn't say a word about going to the University of Houston until they got in the Final Four.
Now, you know that's not true. I was hardly there long enough for it to count anyway. Still 3-2 with 2 out and nobody on. We're in the top of the 9th inning with the Mets holding a 1-run lead. And again, Orozco fouls it out of play. Fans applaud a nice catch by somebody in the loge seats.
One thing about Jesse, he's prolonging the suspense of that bottom half of the 9th.
He sure is. And he takes ball 4. DePino angrily stalking down off the mound, thought he had strike 3. So Orozco works out a walk after fouling off a half a dozen pitches or so. And
I was going to say, did you see that no-hitter today on TV?
Yes, I did.
When Luzinski took that 3-2 pitch, that looked like a solid strike, and they called it ball 4.
Jack Morris and Lance Parrish both jumped straight up in the air. They couldn't believe it. Durwood Merrill was a home plate umpire in that no-hitter. And there were a couple other close calls, but with the help of great fielding by first baseman Dave Bergman, whom the Tigers acquired from San Francisco, Morris came out of it with a no-hitter. Ron Gardenhire takes the ball. Gardenhire 1 for 4, single to center back in the 5th inning.
You know, it figures he'd pitch a no-hitter. Anybody that would wrestle alligators has got to be tough.
Or strange, or both.
He did have a clue to it. He said if you tape their eyes, in other words, put tape over their eyes, they're a little more gentle.
That makes sense. They just certainly wouldn't know where to bite.
I want to know how do you get the tape in their eyes, though?
You better first put some tape around their mouth. 2 balls and no strikes. And a ground ball to short. Vaughn will go to Doran at second base for the short one, and the inning is over. So the suspense is prolonged, but it is imminent as we will go to the bottom of the 9th inning with the Mets holding a 3-2 lead. Right after this word from Oldsmobile. Steve Zabriskie along with Ralph Kiner and Tim McCarver coming to you from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Second game of a 3-game set. Tomorrow night we'll be on the air 7 o'clock Eastern time for the final game of this series. And as we go to the bottom of the 9th, Jesse will be trying to save it for Dwight Gooden. And on tomorrow night's telecast, Mike Torres, the opening day loser in Cincinnati, will oppose Joe Niekro, who lost the Houston opener for the Astros, as they go at it here in the final game of this series. So we'll be on the air at 7 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow right here on Channel 9.
And lots of things happening tonight as Dwight Gooden sits in the dugout. I don't believe Ralphie has gone into the clubhouse as many starting pitchers would, as he wants to hang on. There he is.
Well, he's
Still
sitting on his first major league win.
That's
if
right.
Roscoe can preserve it.
Dwight pitched very well, pitching the first 5. He gave up a run on 3 hits, struck out 5, and walked 2. And here is Alan Ashby, will be followed by a pinch hitter. It looks like it'll be Floyd Bannister, who's out on deck, and then the top of the order in Bill Doran. Did I say Floyd? Alan Bannister, Floyd Bannister, a pitcher in the American League who worked today, as a matter of fact.
Who used to pitch here.
That's right. Ashby takes a breaking ball for strike 1. And now a ball has gotten away from the Houston bullpen. No, it's a pennant that fell down from the stands, apparently retrieved by the ball boy down there. One strike, the count on Ashby. And again, the breaking ball from Orozco. They want the appeal to first base umpire Doug Harvey. He says no. The scoreboard says 0-2, but apparently it's 1-1. And a breaking ball away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Ashby, a switch hitter, and the Mets playing him straight away. Fastball missed. 2-2. And a breaking ball, Hubie Brooks, and a good strong throw, 1 away.
Well, we should have Tim McCarver up here because Tim is not a advocate of playing close to the line. And Hubie was guarding the line to guard against the extra base hit and had a tough play to get that ball, which looked like it might go through for a single.
One of the things that helped him is that Ashby does not run very well, and Hubie had time to right himself and make a good throw. Well, here's Alan Bannister. As you see, hit 125 in the spring. He's appeared in 1 game but has no at-bats officially so far this year.
#1 draft choice by the Philadelphia Phillies, and at one time held the record for the most hits by a college player. An NCAA A1 rating was broken by Hubie Brooks while playing at Arizona State. They both played there.
Speaking of Hubie, he's moved off the line now, and the breaking ball is missed. It's 1-1. There's Brooks at third. Hernandez off the line also at first. Fastball, ground ball down the line, but foul. And the count is 1-2. 1 out, nobody on, bottom of the 9th. As Alan Bannister pinch hits, and Bill Doran, the leadoff batter, is on deck. Doran is 1 for 4 in the ball game. The Astros have 5 hits. The Mets 8. Fastball outside, check swing foul out of play, and the count still 1-2.
Bannister in the American League hit .271. Last year as a pinch hitter for Cleveland, he was 5 for 10.
Not too shabby.
Pretty strong. He had a grand slam home run as a pinch hitter for Cleveland last year, and it was off of Rick Waits. His only grand slam home run in his career.
And a breaking ball from Orozco way outside, and it's 2-2. First inning of work, Jesse threw predominantly breaking balls. This inning, he's let go with a couple of fastballs with pretty good velocity. And the breaking ball popped up foul out of play, high behind the Mets dugout, and the count holding at 2-2. Fastball ripped to left. Foster right there, only has to move a couple of steps. They're 2 away. So 1 out remains, and Bill Doran has the last chance for the Astros. Make plans now to attend the Mets 19th annual welcome home dinner Wednesday night, April 18th at the Sheraton Center Hotel in New York. Tickets are $32 each. For further information, call the Mets at 212-507-METS. As the Mets will come home the 17th to open a 3-game series against Montreal. Fastball is fouled out of play for strike 1. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the 9th. The 3-2 Mets lead. Tim McCarver has made his way down to the field, and we'll hope to have an interview with Dwight Gooden after the ball game. There's a line drive, sounded like a broken bat, base hit into left field, and a 2-out single by Doran, his second hit of the night, keeps the Astros' hopes alive.
Broken bat base hit, and they all count, and that keeps everything alive. And we're going to have a pinch hitter. Let's look at it again. He got in on the trademark, but Doran managed to fight it off and looped it into left field for the base hit. Terry Poole is scheduled to hit, a left-hand batter, with a tying run at first, but it's going to be Phil Garner.
Well, they're going to the old pro, and Garner, who's been felled by that upper respiratory infection, in fact spent time in the hospital and only returned to the Astros in uniform yesterday, will make his first appearance of 1984. As you see, he hit .260 in spring training. And this guy's a gamer. He'll give you everything he has, whether coming out of a sick bed or not. Garner last year hit .238 in an off year for him. Drove in 79 runs, hit 14 home runs, and probably has got to be one of the smallest cleanup hitters, as he batted 4th in the Astros lineup last year, in some time. Doran at first, representing the tying run here in the bottom of the 9th. Garner the winning run at the plate with 2 out.
What did Yogi say? It's never over till it's over.
Truer words were never spoken. Fastball fouled back, strike 1.
Garner coming to Houston from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Houston giving up Jim Ray. And the reason for that was Garner was not going to re-sign with Pittsburgh.
Throw to first. Doran did not have a big lead.
Johnny, what I say, Jim Ray? I'm thinking of Jim Ray Hart.
Former San Francisco Giant. 1 strike to count on Garner. And a curveball and a beauty for strike 2. So Jesse in control here with the Astros down to their last strike. And a high fastball, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Threw that ball up there like he was trying to miss with it on purpose to set up the next pitch.
That's the big advantage in being ahead in the count. Breaking ball, and it's lined to left field, but Foster has a beat on it, and the Mets win 3 in a row. A 3-2 heart-pounding victory as Dwight Gooden picks up his first major league victory. The 19-year-old who's making the jump from Class A to the big leagues. Jesse Orosco picks up his first save of 1984, And Tim McCarver will have a word with Dwight Gooden, and Ralph and I will have a wrap-up from the Astrodome in Houston. The final score, once again, the Mets 3 and the Astros 2.
Well, the New York Mets have clinched win in this series here, a 3-game series, winning the first 2 games of the 3 games scheduled. The Mets won a 3-game series back in 1982, and this is the 9th that they have won against Houston in their career. Home run by Strawberry in the second over the center field fence gave them a 1-0 lead, and then a 2-out double by Mookie Wilson drove in 2 more runs. A big play in the ball game, Steve, had to be the play when a base hit the left field by Ray Knight with runners at second and third, and the runner at second base, Jose Cruz, failed to slide at home and was thrown out by George Foster, the left fielder. So the mechanics of baseball are a very big part of this game. If he had slid, then it would have been a tie ball game at 3.
He might have been safe as right, Ralph, and you really can't blame Jose Cruz because Dickie Thorne, who had scored ahead of him, and the on-deck batter were both standing there and said nothing to him about whether or not to slide. Foster made a fine play. George's defense has been outstanding. But I think the big thing in this ball game, and you're going to find out from Dwight Gooden in just a minute how big it was for him, has to be the fact that for a couple of years now, and particularly throughout this spring, we've been hearing about these good young arms that the Mets have. Well, going back to Wednesday night, when Ron Darling won the ball game, Walt Terrell winning here last night, and Dwight Gooden picking up his first major league victory tonight, we're beginning to see that those things that we've been hearing are really true. The Mets do have fine young pitchers, and the Mets are also playing outstanding defense, and that's the reason they've won 3 in a row.
Well, Roscoe picked up his first save of the year. He had 17 last year, and he saved it for Dwight Gooden. And let's go down to Tim McCarver for an interview with Dwight.
All right, Ralph Kiner, thank you very much. Dwight Gooden, you got a lesson tonight in starting your first major league game, and you also got a lesson in rooting, right? Because you stuck around those last 4 innings just to make sure that that bullpen put the clamps on things.
Right, I hung around to see what was going to happen. I felt great out there. First battle I had a little jitters, but after the first battle was over, then everything just seemed to fall in place.
For those who have never started a big league game, what was your day like today?
Well, the day is like everything was going slow. You know, I was impatient, really trying to keep myself busy to the game time, and I was really pumped for the first one.
And you were fired up, and you had amazingly good control. You only walked 2, you struck out 5, and they clocked you at 95 miles an hour. Was that about on time?
Yeah, that was about right. I knew I'd get up there this year. Last year I tossed about 93, 94, but this year I just felt great. You know, I just went out and wanted to get my best, keep the ball club in the game best way as possible.
And Dwight, the interesting thing about a young pitcher who can throw breaking balls behind the hitter as you did, or behind the hitters, as you did so well tonight, a lot of curveballs you threw in a 1-0 count, a 2-1 count a couple of times. You really have confidence in your breaking ball too, don't you?
Yeah, my curveball, I've got a lot of confidence in it, and when I'm behind batters, I like to show up my curveball and, you know, let them know I can get over for strikes. And once I get command of my off-speed pitches, and then they have my fastball just that much better.
And your mother and father being here tonight didn't hurt things, did they?
No, that made things a lot better, you know, relax more, and just had to go out and do it.
I have rarely met Ralph Kiner and Steve Zabriskie, a more composed young man. Dwight Gooden with his first major league win tonight. Now let's go back up to the booth to Ralph and Steve.
And the first chapter in a book of Dwight Gooden, and it might be a long, long book. A book I'm sure he's going to like to read at the end of his career. Today's star of the game will receive compliments of Wayne Scott. Young man's shirts, sweaters, active wear, and sets and styles and colors. For all the man you are, Wayne Scott. Tonight's guest will also receive from Daniel Mink a sports watch that's a stroke of genius and ready for any course of action. Daniel Mink's exciting watch collection is available at Bloomingdale's. The line score of the ball game: the Mets 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors. The Astros 2 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Once again, the final score: the Mets 3 and the Astros 2. The participating advertisers in New York Mets baseball have been Budweiser, the king of beers and proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Manufacturers Hanover Trust, where our facts make your money worth more. Datsun, Nissan builders of high-quality cars and trucks for over 50 years. Available at your Datsun dealers. By Exxon and its thousands of independent dealers. And by your tri-state Lincoln Mercury dealer. We're on a roll. Until tomorrow night at 7 o'clock New York time when the Mets take on the Houston Astros in the final game of this 3-game series. This is Ralph Kiner saying so long for Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriskie. The executive producer of Mets baseball is Ralph Robbins, directed by Bill Webb. The associate director was Tom Schaffery. Tonight's game was produced by the channel.